Welcome back,
Am I?
everybody. Welcome back, everybody. Uh, we're about to jump into our show for tonight. So let me jump into that recap. Last we met, the battle with the mage from Oxlin and her demons decimated the Wayward Five despite their success in finally taking her down. In the aftermath of their suffering, matters only grew worse as Timber's lifeless corpse was possessed by the malicious spirit of Lu, the corrupted Fae Keeper buried within Timber's soul. With the utterance, "This vessel is mine now," Timber's form shifted. His claws grew sharper, his fangs longer, and wisps of shadow bled from his body. In an attempt to protect their unconscious and dead friends, Scarlet and Cal engaged with the vicious beast. But the strength of a god proved too much, even for our heroes. Cal fought to the bitter end as he matched the ferocity of Lu, while Scarlet huddled over the mutilated body of Curon, now missing an arm from the creature's onslaught in hunger. Throughout this massacre, the spectral black owl of Astraeus seemed to simply watch. It only intervened upon the arrival of Governor Oriel Clay. Astraeus drew the rage of Lu from Timber's body and restored his control, burying the will of Lu deep within Timber. A temporary solution, for the beast still remained within. Oriel arrived and saw the brutalized bodies of the soldiers Lu killed and the broken Wayward Five. He rushed to their aid and brought them back to the barracks. In the quiet quarters of the Arcos, he examined the dead body of Curon. Timber watched and confirmed to the governor that he had seen what Curon could do, that he had witnessed these truths, that Curon was chosen. Clay began a ritual with Timber's aid, and they were able to find Curon's soul somewhere beyond. In this beyond, Curon found himself stepping into the realm of Zendariel the Everflame. Here he discovered that her domain was, in truth, a fiendish world, part of the Nine Hells, but infused with celestial magic. Zendariel herself was using all of this power to maintain and protect this realm, for the sake of the souls resting there. She warned him that the world was weakest within the Chromatis hinterlands, and that he would continue to suffer in his crusade. But she promised she had done what she could to put her servants in the path of Curon to aid him. But as he begged her for more time and more information, Curon was slowly brought back to the material plane and into his body, looking up to see the now magically aged Governor Clay, for he had given his own life force to bring Curon back. Over the course of a week, the Wayward Five slowly all awoke from their wounds. Each now must deal with the trauma of this fight. Wiswick, who had awoken first, harbors great animosity for Timber and the dangers within him. Scarlet, who awoke second, struggles to contain the gnome's anger, and all she hopes to do is to help her friends and keep this family together. Cal suffers from an unhealing wound on his shoulder, Lu seemingly intentionally inflicting some curse upon this laceration. Timber suffers extreme guilt and questions if there is any hope for him at all. These questions plague our heroes as they awaited Curon's recovery. Overjoyed that he was alive, his body suffered greatly. In the quiet and dim morning of the 7th day, which is the 8th day of Elmianglow, the drear shadow, on a sundog, Huron awakens silently with the weight of his purpose. And he contemplates the thin line between hope and annihilation. And this is where we left off. The Wayward Five, some of which have recovered much of their previous fortitude, although some still suffer from extreme exhaustion and grievous wounds. Right now, Timber is asleep, trying to recover what he can of his spirit. Cal similarly is asleep, struggling somewhat in his bed, the wound burning on his shoulder. Kieran is awake and alone in this chamber. As far as waking people, he is surrounded by his friends. They are all asleep. Scarlet sits next to him in a chair wrapped in a blanket. Wiswick across the room also sleeping. Kieran, is there anything you'd want to do before your friends start to wake up? Or are you remaining still as you were before?
Kieran remains still as he was before.
Okay.
So for my knowledge, mechanic-wise, I'm at 4 levels exhaustion, you said?
5.
5. Oh, cool.
Yes.
And I haven't technically recovered any health or spell slots or anything. Okay, yeah, he's just gonna lay there. Like a bum.
Not much you can do besides talk and maybe lift your head and arms a little bit. But as you lay still there slowly, the first to awake would be Scarlet, and then shortly after, Wiswick would awake. Scarlet, I would say you have a few moments with Kieran alone as the kind of dim twilight-like light bleeds in from the windows of the early morning of a long, dark Sunday. Sundog.
Okay. I'll sit up straighter in the chair and kind of like let the blanket drop, and seeing that Kieran's awake. Oh, thank goodness. You're awake. So glad you're back. How are you?
He doesn't
Sure.
respond.
Kieran? I'll put my hand gently on his chest. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Scarlet. Yes, it's good to see you.
You too. I imagine you're not feeling too well.
No. Where are we?
We're in the barracks. We're still in... Oh god, I just
Atranari.
brain farted. Thank you. We're still in Atranari. We've been here for just about a week. We've been asleep for just about a week. Everyone's still recovering, but we're all alive.
That's good. Are you okay?
I will be.
Good.
Do you need anything? Is there anything I can get for you? Another pillow or anything to make you more comfortable?
Some water would
Sure.
be nice.
Sure. And I'll kind of like just give him a smile and stand up and go get him some water. Limping a little because my leg still hurts.
Yeah. He's definitely can. Water's not too far away. You don't even have to leave the room. Keep water close at hand for the sick.
Perfect. I'll bring it back, and are you able to sit up a little? I can help you. I'll
I
gently,
think
like,
I require assistance.
okay, I'll put my hand under his head and very, very, very gently lift him up.
And he does that thing that old people do, where it's like, oh, oh.
If it hurts, I can stop.
No, it's fine. Thank you. And
Drink
he
it slow.
greedily drinks from it, but not like in the
Slow.
gulp, 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 and like the, and it's like, goes around his, wets his facial hair, and he's all like, you I think you would probably see him for the first time as like an older individual.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, his bodily functions aren't 100%.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No. Eventually, I need to speak with the governor,
Sure.
but I think it's best I rest for now.
I agree. I'll be right here. I'm not going to leave your side.
Thank you, Scarlet.
Okay. Scarlet, as you remain by Kieran's side, Kieran, you would. I mean, it's interesting because realistically, you can only rest. So, like, you're gonna recover quicker, actually, than if you were just like sleeping on the road.
Yeah.
But Kieran, you kind of drift in and out of sleep because you can sleep. Like elves can still do typical sleep. They don't just trance.
I can sleep? Are you sure, DM? Are you sure I can sleep?
Oh, I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you do pass in and out of dreams, where you might see reminders of the realm of Zendariel. You would see the hollowed out tower you were in, where you saw her, the pool of blood where Barkov, the messenger, rose from, both the beautiful visage of her and the decrepit, rotted version, and the fields of wasteland that would shift between paradise and hell. Wiswick. A little while later, you would wake up and see Scarlet sitting by Kieran's bed.
Calligraphy.
I also wake up with an old man noise. Kieran, you're awake? It's good to see you up.
Wiswick. Yes. How are you?
Better than most of us.
That's good. You need your strength.
We all do.
Yes.
Scarlet's kind of like eyeing him, just like, whatever it is you want to dump on him, don't do it.
It kind of just like shrugs off the glare, as seeing that like he didn't really have any intentions to go right into arguing right after waking up. So he begins preparing his spells for the day.
Huron, you would notice Timber and Cal, the only two who haven't woken up. You can see Cal kind of looks rough, like he's not just that you can see that he has bloody bandages still, while no one else really has bloody bandages. But he's like physically in unrest. While Timber seems so peaceful right now. Though you don't know yet what happened.
Nope.
So, as the day grows longer, is there anything any of you would like to do? There would be a healer who would come in to check on you, Kieran, about halfway through the day and to really check on all of you. Cal, let's say you awaken a little later than everyone else, maybe around 11. Timber, similarly, you would awaken around a little bit before Cal, but before noon, you would all be awoken together in the room.
One thing, Wiswick would have probably summoned the golem to just be watching over Timber as he sleeps. And but other than that, he wouldn't like take any other steps.
Okay.
He would just enjoy the morning as it is with all of his friends around him.
All right. So, once you've all awoken, or once Timber and Cal have awoken, what would y'all like to do?
Lay there, resting. You know, like a sick / almost dead person might do. As if he's recovering his strengths.
Okay.
Kieran, I hate to disturb your rest, but I think it would be good for all of us to just let out our grievances now that everybody's conscious, you know? It was kind of...
You just woke up.
He deserves to know what's going on.
I agree, but he just woke up. I guess I'll leave that up to you, Kieran.
Have no grievances to air. I simply wish to make a full recovery and get back to the task at hand.
The problem is we haven't all recovered fully yet, and I don't know if we ever will. Looking kind of towards Cal at this point.
There is nothing that the divine magics cannot fix in this world. It may take some time, but we will all make a full recovery.
Cal coughs up blood.
Once I have my strengths back, I believe I have something that may help our friend.
Do you even know what's wrong with him?
Kieran takes a glance at Cal. Can he tell what's wrong with him? In a reclined state from one hospital bed to another?
I would say he doesn't get... No, you don't. He looks wounded. He looks like someone stabbed him yesterday.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I guess you could at the very least realize his wounds are healing slower, is what you could, from here, without actually examining, and I guess without someone telling you. Like, it just looks like he's healing worse than everyone else.
Right. No, I don't know exactly what's wrong with him. But as I said, the divine magic of Ilyvania will set her champion straight on our path.
You know, I got all the faith in you, in the world for you, Kieran, but the path that we're walking, it ain't no straight one.
Well, deviations happen. It's true.
Wiswick just leaves it at that.
Okay. The day goes by. You're on around midday. For all of you, someone comes and brings you meals, forces you to eat them if you don't eat them, helps Cal and Kieran eat them.
Oh, thank you. Is this tapioca? I love rice pudding.
The healer spends a lot of time with Cal and Kieran. Kieran first, and then Cal. but the healer would look at you, Kiran, and would be just sort of examining like your physical shape. They would examine your arm, which they would unwrap, and you would see that it is, fully healed, but you did not get your arm back.
Unlike some people we know.
But and they just sort of like ask you questions. How are you feeling? Do you have any confusion or memory loss?
No, I remember falling before the demon and watching its glaive come down into my chest. Then, of course, the underworld, or the next step. And then I was back here. Is the governor available?
We can give him word that you've awoken.
It's no rush. When he has a moment. Well, I feel it will be quite the conversation.
He's working with the Arcos to clean up the demonic presidents in the area. And under the guidance of your companion, Master Netherrock, they are working on the sealing of the portal in the hillsides.
Very good. Very good.
Is there anything else we can do for you?
No, thank you. Thank you.
You would see them go and join another healer the two of them are standing around Cal, checking on his wounds, unwrapping them, shaking their heads at it. If you want, you can do a disadvantaged perception check to see if you can see more clearly the wounds, if you want.
I would be honored. 17.
17. So I would say this is your first. Oh wait, by the way, Scarlet, what have you been wearing this whole time? Have you been bundled up, or would he be able to? Actually, no, you'd have wrappings on your wound. This is the first time you see anyone's actual wounds, and you look at them, and they don't look like they look too mangled to be like a clean cut of a weapon. They look, but at the same time, you know that there were other creatures there. You don't know what came up after you went unconscious. There were hellhounds there, but it looks like something had bitten into his shoulder and tore it up. Something awful. And right now, the wounds, while not infected looking, are just reopening and almost completely absorbing or destroying the sutures that would be in it.
Raising his hands to point at Cal, Kiran says, turning to Scarlet, "What injured Calith?"
Scarlet pauses her doodling that she's doing.
Timber interrupts her. I did.
Kaze,
It was no.
it's good to see you're awake.
Timber.
You didn't. Something else did. The wolf did.
Ah. This is what Wiswick meant.
Yes.
So it finally happened.
I died just like you, Kiran. Stabbed through the chest.
Cal and I watched it.
But Lou took control.
Correct.
Very interesting. So, even should you die, Lou will still take control of you. So there's really no way of...
Removing him.
Yes.
Yet.
Oh, of course. We'll get there.
Do you mind telling that to Wiswick? He's been... I don't even know. He's upset, and I understand why, but he's not being kind to Timber, and I don't think he needs that right now.
Kaze can handle it.
Scarlet, are you talking like I'm not even here right now?
I'll only acknowledge you if you promise to have a civil conversation.
I'd only be civil if we were all civil people.
Who's not civil here?
That's how he's referring to Timber now.
Ah, of course.
I don't
Yeah,
much care for it.
Maybe that was a little rude. He's not really wild, I'd say. It's more like a stick of dynamite, or I guess, do we have dynamite in this world?
Yeah, there's things like dynamite.
You know, just never knowing when he's gonna explode.
Well, that's not true. We know exactly when he's going to. And Kieran raises a hand. Explode. It's when his spirit is knocked out, or it's when the scent of fresh blood is too much for Kaze to handle, and Lou assumes control of his body.
Right.
You
so
knew
only
that.
in the worst moments possible.
Right. Well, so far, how long have we been together and we haven't had an incident like this? If I hadn't been down, it could have been much easier to manage with the magic of Ilyvania, or even Astraeus. Actually, that's a good question. How is Lou calmed?
Would I
None
have
of you
any
saw
knowledge?
I didn't see it.
No, because you had no memory of while you were Lou.
Cal hasn't been talking, but he's been listening.
Yeah.
And he ruefully shakes it while gritting his teeth in pain.
Yeah. The healers have lifted Cal up at this point, so he's sitting back.
Well, I think that's an important element here to understand. Clearly, there is a way to calm the beast besides my magics.
I don't know,
If we
Kieran. If
can understand that better.
There was just bodies
I
everywhere.
I think we don't know squat about what's turning him back into what he actually is.
I think
into
you
his
don't know
normal
that.
self. We don't
You
know
don't
squat
know
about
that.
his thing. All we know is it's getting worse.
Well, so I don't know if it's gotten worse. I just think it finally had an opportunity to fully emerge. Have we not told you? The beast within Kaze is the corrupted spirit of the old Fey Keeper, Lou. One of the wolf gods of the Feywild. The wolf god of the Feywild. He was kidnapped, right? Is that how it happened, Kaze? He was
That is
kidnapped.
correct.
And a tribe of wild elves within the ruination forced the spirit of their old god, corrupted and mangled by the Wayward One, into Kaze's body. Now, it's a constant struggle, constant conflict for our friend to keep the beast inside him quelled. I'd say he has done a damned good job so far. looks out, Kieran goes, "Oh, do you have something that can regrow limbs?"
No. Unless I...
A shame. No. I've heard it from the higher ups that I'm in for a lot more like this in our future. So
More limbs?
they weren't that specific, but suffering is in my future. So
Great.
I'll get used to it now.
This, it's pretty bad. Have you
I'm missing an
considered-
arm.
Yes, I can see that. Would you consider... I've heard that down south they have mechanical arms.
I hadn't really thought of it. I just assumed that if I needed an arm, it would be placed in my way.
What about like lizards in
Yeah, they grow back their limbs.
Right. What if we made you into a lizard and then we can...
You want to turn me into a lizard, Kaze? I think I'd rather... Well, that's not true. If it's
You'll
the
just
will of the
come back.
gods, so be it. Turn me into a lizard. He says as he starts to, like, all this talking is it started to exhaust him as he truly settles back into his pillows.
Timber's going to finish up with like a quick healing potion and then put it by his bedside, and then just say, "Thank you, Q."
Anytime.
Pat him on.
Kaze.
Pat him.
Absolutely. Okay. Is there anything else anyone would like to do today?
Wiswick just kind of sits in the room quietly, doing his studies, just like keeping busy, maybe talking to the golem every once in a while, but like never like he always has the golem have its eyes on Timber while he's doing his thing, and he doesn't seem convinced at all that he's being like he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong.
Okay.
Timber's also going to go to Cal and assess that wound as well. He's going to compare jaw sizes and be like, "How did I do that?"
Yeah. Go ahead and give me. Yeah, Cal.
So, when Timber gets close to Cal doesn't move in like a weird way. Like he freezes and has his eyes on Timber the whole time without really moving his head. Like everything is not freezes, everything is tensed.
Is it like wide-eyed?
No, it's like ready to. It's like there's probably more adrenaline than should be going through a man sitting in his bed.
Yeah.
Ready to do anything. Ready to move, I guess is what I'm going for.
Would I notice this right off the bat? The like detail?
I think that's up to you.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say you would notice. I mean, it's pretty. I think it'd be pretty easy to spot that Cal is tense and like in a fight or flight sort of semi-fight or flight situation in his head when you approach. His eyes aren't wide in a way that he's like, but he's tense and careful. Wary of you.
Timber backs up just a little bit. Can I look at it?
After a moment's consideration, Cal nods and visibly forces himself to relax.
Deep breath. And Timber's slowly going to approach and like unbandage it.
So give me a medicine check or an investigation check.
I will give you the medicine. Boop. That's an 11.
Okay.
It's definitely a spider bite. Sorry.
It's definitely one of those hellhounds, and not you. I think you look at it and it's pretty gnarly, but it's not as like mutilated as say Curon's arm area. It looks like it was delivered slower and more deliberately. That's the most you can get about the wound itself. And then with the medicine check, you would also see like the sutures are already splitting open. And the wound is just sort of slowly becoming these like crevices in his flesh that is always kind of going to be semi unhealed and painful. They're clean though.
Can I, Sean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if this needs to be ingested. Can I pour part of or a petrification potion over it?
Yes.
I will not do it just yet, but
Okay. Yeah, petrification potions do not need to be ingested. It's whatever they touch begins to petrify.
Okay. Kelith, I could make your arm and shoulder unusable, but you will not feel any pain from now.
No, it's not worth it. I have to get the governor to Vermalcia first.
Okay. This wound is very, very odd. If you don't mind me asking, how this doesn't look vicious. When did he bite you?
During the fight,
How did he bite you?
with his mouth.
Okay. Just doesn't.
Cal
just
Cal
doesn't look
is
normal. Yeah.
he's being gruff, like clearly, like he's kind of stonewalling. And he kind of is like sinking back into the same way that Kieran got tired. He's kind of sinking back into his pillows, and perhaps even one might say turning, like
Away.
slowly turning away from you.
Caliph, can I just try one more thing? And as he's like pulling his way, Timber's like desperately trying to help him. Can I? I mean, it's not gonna help, but like, can Timber like press his hands on it and measure the key that's running through that part of the body?
Sure.
Okay. What do I roll for this?
Bullshit.
Give me a straight wisdom check.
All right.
Let me play the singing bowl.
Let me. Oh, it's pretty good. It's a 22.
Nice. So before all of this happened, you were training Cal, and you were meditating with him frequently. Same with Scarlet. And it's not so much that you don't get a lot from this, but your sensitivity to E and I would say it definitely feels off. It feels as though life force is being blocked from the wound, and it is not being allowed to naturally heal or any kind of healing intervention. But it's not killing him yet. Like, he's not bleeding out when the wound reopens. More so just causing extreme pain.
This is not a normal wound. And Timber's gonna like take his hand away as if it's like a now life force. And Timber's gonna slowly walk back to his bed.
Yeah, Cal
We-
pulls the blanket up.
Yeah,
Curls
Timber's
up into a sort of ball.
Timber's gonna give him a nice little remedy that put on the bedside.
Okay. All right. So the day goes on as you each, those of you who are more well, like Huron or Wiswick and Scarlet, can move about much more freely. You could leave if you wanted to and go wander the village.
I was gonna say, after listening to Wiswick and seeing that he still has his golem following and supervising Timber, she's gonna need some air. So I would get up, and then on the way out, I would stop by Wiswick's bed, and I would say, I'm going for a walk. When I get back, I want your rook to leave him alone. I don't want to see your golem hovering over him. That's not helping, and you're making it worse. And turn around and walk out the door.
The golem did look at you funny when you called it a rock. You did see kind of like the head swivel, almost exorcist style, and looks back at you.
I'm a rock this whole time.
I'm not a real boy.
I'm not a real boy.
Wiswick quickly writes a letter, and as soon as Scarlet leaves, he sticks it to the door, and it says, "No Scarlets allowed."
I
He just
love
goes
it.
back to studying.
Okay, so Scarlet, you wander out into the night. It's very cold. There is snow falling. You can see. You kind of wander. I dropped something. You kind of wander to the town square where the fight happened. You can see the now put out building. You can see the collapsed roof, where you just see scorch marks all over the place, but slowly being concealed by the gently falling snow. There's little remnants of the fight in the courtyard itself, other than you looking around, you can see most of these buildings have been abandoned now and are being slowly boarded up because their windows are all shattered and they've suffered internal damage from the demons. But it's very, very quiet here compared to the raucousness of this place when you first arrived.
Is there anybody that looks like they need help I could go offer assistance to?
Not really. It's been 7 days since the fight.
That's true.
They've cleaned most of it up. They're just boarded up the windows now and relocated people. The only lights on are in the tavern. There are a few guards walking about, but
I'll go into the tavern and just get like a standard drink and just kind of like go just like sit somewhere by myself and just kind of and like nurse the drink. And that list that I wrote a couple weeks ago now at this point, would I still have that or would I have lost that?
there's no reason you would have lost it.
Okay. So I'll just go
It might
and...
be stained with blood.
Excellent. I'll just like kind of pull that out and just like sitting with my drink, just like holding it and having the list open and just looking at it and brooding, if you will.
brewed away. You are looking at this list, and there's very few people in the tavern. You see most of the soldiers that are left, who were here for the end of their time, have moved onward. It's just workers, and then you see Creek is there, and he drops a drink down in front of you. He's like, you look like you've had a rough week.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. What do you got there? You're staring at it. It's a little weird. I mean, I don't mean to offend you. I know you're just peacefully drinking your drink, but I just say, could you maybe go sit in the corner, because the bloody piece of paper is scaring patrons away.
I'm sorry. I'll put it away at this point.
I mean, no offense. A lot of people got bloody things. There's a lot of soldiers coming back from war here.
I understand.
I know you're friends with Mr. Stormrain.
Yes.
Just interesting. I heard there was you all got into quite the scrap outside, right out there.
We did. Apologies for any damages the tavern may have suffered for it.
Oh, well, this tavern's been here a long time and seen a lot of conflict, but nothing can take down the old lazy werewolf. Though I might have to change that name from the stories I've heard.
I'll stand up holding the mug. Might not be a bad idea. I'll go sit in the corner. And go take the list out again.
That'll be 5 silver.
I have 5 silver.
Scott's
I
be
do.
washing dishes tonight.
I have 32 silver. Now I have 27 silver.
Okay. The night comes and everything begins to fade away for some of you, and the rest of you find your resting place. I mean, realistically, Scarlet and Wiswick don't have to stay in the medical wing anymore if they don't want to.
I want to. Stay with my friends.
And you all find some sleep.
I think that
Scarlet, you would see the sign that says no Scarlets when you get
I
in.
immediately rip it down and throw it at him when I get back in. Is the golem still hovering over Timber?
yes.
Why? What is the point of that? You can see him. I can see him. We all can see him.
Wiswick doesn't even respond. He just bursts the little piece of paper into flame in his hand, and then walks out. And the golem goes with him. And I sleep somewhere comfortable tonight.
You see, Scarlet, as you pass by, the golem does kind of like look at you for a second, and then just like awkwardly pats you on the shoulder. But you almost like fall to your knees because it's a big heavy rock hand that hits you on the shoulder. Scarlet friend, Master Netherwalk taught me that.
Timber
keeps
friend
moving.
too. I say as they're walking out.
And he moves on. If you'd like, you could get a room at the tavern. Wisbech.
Sure.
It'll
Sounds
cost
good.
Cost you 5 silver.
No problem.
Costs as much as my drink?
Yeah.
After Wiswick,
The rooms have to be cheaper because no one wants to stay in them. There's no one staying in the rooms.
After Wiswick left, Timber, while laying in the bed, would have softly said, "Thank you, Scarlet."
Of course. I'm going to stay on him about that.
It's
I'll
fine.
push it out of the way if I have to. No, it's not fine. It's not fine. But it's going to be. It has to.
Thank you.
And with that, you all find some sleep. Timber, you're going to feel a lot better tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're finally going to be kind of pretty much fully recovered. Cal, you're going to start to be able to walk if you'd like, though a bit rough. You're still kind of enfeebled, but you're getting close to as recovered as you can be currently. You're likely going to have a level 1 exhaustion for a while that's just not quite going to go. And then Huron, you can finally sit up on your own.
Skill I didn't always have.
Of course, Huron, I would allow you to recover a little bit quicker. With your if you trance and sleep through the night, so take 12 hours to rest.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So can I knock off 2 points of exhaustion?
You can knock off 2.
Skip it up.
So on this day, everyone would wake up before Huron. For the first time in the entire time you've ever known Huron, you have woken up before him.
He sleeps real weird. Like just
I imagine. Yeah, you're also very used to waking up to Huron just sort of like hands crossed, legs crossed, sitting in the corner. But now he's just like sort of like what one arm he's got left.
drool just down his mouth.
He's kicked the sheets off.
Yeah. No, Ivan, you don't leave me.
This is the real reason Huron doesn't sleep, because he sleep talks. It's very embarrassing.
Just shouts in Elvish.
But no, the rest of you wake up to a hearty breakfast being provided for you, as you're all somewhat rejuvenated for the most part, and you would see Governor Clay is there. He's been sitting at the end of the room. You see he has he's wearing armor though, that he didn't have on before. Kind of the ostentatious clothes aren't evident here, though he still has the holy symbol at his neck of the inflamed skull with the 7-pointed star. And he, he has he's got 5 o'clock shadow, which you're not used to because he literally shaved every morning when you traveled with him. For a lot of you, this is the first time you've seen him since he resurrected Huron, and you don't recognize him at first. You're like, is that his dad? Because he looked like he was probably around 30 last you met him. He looks like he's approaching 50 now. There are streaks of gray in his hair, deep crow's nest beneath his eyes, the beginnings of wrinkles, the wrinkles of middle age. The beard hair that you do see is completely white. As he's just sort of sitting at the end of the room, just sort of reading a book right now. As you all awake, and the servants bring in food for you.
Do we know that he was the one that resurrected Huron?
The only person who knows that is Timber.
Okay.
And Wiswick, who's not here.
Look, you've aged.
Oh yes, well I suppose I look a bit more mature now.
That you do.
But I'm happy to see you all awake, and to see Curon doing so well.
Recovered rapidly.
Yes.
But we all thank you for what you did, even though he's sleeping right now. I'm sure he's beyond grateful. I'm grateful. We all are.
He closes the book with one hand and kind of tosses it on the table and sits back and then stands up, and you hear the armor kind of clanking. As you can see that sword at his waist as he steps into the middle of the room, and with a smile, despite the age, you can still kind of, there's a little charm to his smile. It's the least I can offer to those who've protected me.
I'm sorry, Sean. I've lost track of who's awake and who's not. Everyone but Kieran, right? Is currently
Yes.
awake? Okay.
Yes.
Cal is going to get to his feet. And he's going to toss a salute toward the governor. And go, Governor, I am glad that you made it through that situation. And thank you for your assistance. Most of us would not be here, I imagine, without you. If you give us, I would say, another looking around, another day or two, we can be ready to get on the road again.
Of course, I've made arrangements for our travels to hasten them and to avoid the road. We will be traveling with a contact of the Arcos in the region by river. There's a shipping vessel that arrived a few days ago from the northern reaches of the Lapis tributary, and we will be ferried south to Dalmacia. A curious fellow who runs the ship, but I'm sure you will all get along with him as much as I do.
Excellent, sir. Thank you for looking into that. That sounds like the correct move.
Yes, the vessel will be ready to leave as early as tomorrow if you're able, but if it takes another day, of course. I know that Curon and Caliph, you've suffered greatly. But the ship is also prepared to accommodate those who are unwell still, if we want to leave earlier. I'll return this afternoon, as I believe Curon would like to speak with me, and I am certain he has questions, as I'm sure you all do. But for now, I must go and speak with the Arcos and finish up affairs in this town and ensure that we are not leaving it to the fiends. But get your rests. I will return, and perhaps we can sup together tonight.
Cal nods and tosses another salute, and then kind of sinks back.
Okay. The governor turns, kind of hesitates for a moment, and kind of looks back at you all and smiles and nods, and then moves on. And you're alone again with your hearty breakfasts in front of you. It is sausage and biscuits.
Oh wow.
Cal would eat his sausage and probably the biscuits, and I think he would light up a cigarette,
Mhm.
as it's been several days.
Yes. Yeah.
this is a no smoking area, Kel.
I don't think it is.
It says right on the door.
It's not. There's no smoking places.
That's the
this.
best improv I've ever done. Hey, there's no smoking. Nah.
Either way, that's not healthy for you.
You see like a healer's in the corner, and they're also chiefing cigarettes. They've not done the adequate
not
research
even
into
the
tobacco
industrial
in this
types.
world.
It's fucking, yeah.
But yeah,
Was it-
Cal, you're like shockingly well right now for the fact you have an open wound on your shoulder. You're definitely achy and weak, and you couldn't stand and walk for a very long time. You would need a crutch or to sit down. But your faculties are starting to return.
Yeah, so I'm
Wisdom-
sitting in bed, sitting
Yeah.
up in bed now at least.
Yeah.
Smoking a cigarette. Just quietly thinking, I suppose.
Wiswick's gonna take the morning for himself. He just walks around with he doesn't summon his arcane golem right away. He's walking around with the crystal like around his arm, and he still speaks to it, but it's like not activated. He continues his like tutorship as he goes along, and he walks out of the town and up to the cave where there was the collapsed portal, just to check up on it and see if they did a good job.
Great. Awesome. So Wiswick, you find yourself kind of moving up, hiking your way there through the rougher terrain. You can hear kind of the loud roars of the rapids below as you're up on this kind of cliffside crawling across. And you would find the ravine, the small stream where the cave is. You would hear kind of like this small stream like flows into like a very small waterfall that's on the edge of this canyon, and you walk up and you can see that it's been blasted open. You can see like these scorch marks on the rock, and you step inside and you would see a dark cave. You would see no portal. You could see kind of like the scorched remains of the blood ritual. But together over the last week, Arcos, Herencia, and the governor have been able to seal the portal shut. You would find kind of scattered throughout this canyon are these kind of like solidifying oozes that are the remains of the ichor of other demons they've killed in the process. It has just sort of turned into this very almost tar-like black substance.
Wiswick takes his time and slowly starts magically cleaning up the place. Like he removed some of the tar that he could find. He clears out the cave. He like washes down like whatever's remained of the blood ritual. He fixes the cave in that he caused earlier. Like it might have been blown away, but he tries to make it like the cave resembled the way it was before they got there. And he spends like a few hours doing this, just making things nice. Maybe he'll use the wand of flowers to like put some fauna in there. I don't know if anything grows in a cave would work with the wand, but maybe outside of the cave, just like spruce it up a bit.
He's taken the leave no trace principle to the next level.
Yeah, he's just doing it because honestly, he feels like he wants to do something productive that isn't like teaching his golem things. Like he just wants to feel like he's trying to make up for something. And he, for like the rest of the afternoon, he sits in the cave alone and just does what he was doing before in the hospital bed, but like by himself in an underground cave.
Yeah, absolutely. You spend the afternoon clearing away all of the singe marks, the scorch marks, and the signs of battle and the scars of fiends, and mortals alike. You take your time to get the grass and flowers on the outside of the cave just right. You know, you shape the stone. You make it look as if nothing had happened here. But there was no profane ritual. There was no death. It's just a natural cave. As you sit there and do your work. The day goes on. Kieran, you awake, of course. Not too late into the day, but later than everyone else. As you can see, there is a wilted salad by your bed. The bowl of what are now somewhat macerated berries. Well, is there anything anyone would like to do?
No. Don't think there is, Sean.
Okay.
I'd say if everybody's just hanging out, eventually Wiswick would head back into town and shoot a message while he's on his way over to them.
Okay.
Timber would ask Scarlet to accompany her to just take a walk, get some fresh air.
Sure.
As the two of you are leaving the barracks, you would run into Clay in the hallway, leaving from or coming in from outside. You know, still in that armor. Timber, that night you spoke with him and you were like, this kid reminds me of Kinsley. He reminds you a lot more of Kinsley now, just in that he's probably approaching Kinsley's age now, and how he's been changed. Although he has a kinder smile, of course, and generally he doesn't have the rigidity of Kinsley. As he'll look to the two of you and nod. I'm happy to see you both on your feet.
It is you who we have to thank for us getting on our feet.
Yes,
Well,
thank you.
Well, I appreciate your grace, but we have a long journey ahead of us still, and you don't have to thank me anymore.
I know Kieran wanted to speak with you.
He just woke up. Sorry.
Yes, I've come to speak with him. It's a beautiful day out. The snow has stopped. It's even a little warm. Enjoy your day.
You as well.
He'll step past you. And Huron and Cal both hear as you see the governor walk in.
Kieran is like just fingering the berries and leaves and just putting them in his mouth.
Yeah, like
Very
someone
ceremonial.
someone should still be feeding you, but you're
Yeah.
it's-
Like,
Cal's smoking in silence.
yeah. Clay would give you a respectful nod, Cal, as he would take
Governor?
the seat. Lieutenant, I hope you're well.
Right as rain, sir. Ready to leave when you are.
I applaud your resilience. He'll look over at Kieran and take Scarlet's seat and grab the berries and hold them and put them closer to you.
appreciate it.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Ariel.
was a long journey you took, I suppose.
Different,
Don't-
but similar to one I've taken before.
I don't know what you saw. I know you spoke of dying before.
Do you know what a didact is?
Died. No.
Neither did I. I was hoping you would be a little more informed than myself, but Zendario is one of these didacts. It would appear your worship of her rings the most true with what she really is. A devil or demon. Quick check, Sean. Is she devil or demon of the hells?
There's no real difference
Okay.
in my world.
Okay,
They're
just wanna-
interchangeable.
A devil of the hells. But also a celestial of Elysium when she took the mantle of
The Dawn Mother.
the
Ein.
Dawn Mother. Ein.
Def- Well, we knew there were multiple faces of Zendario. Devil.
Yes,
And you saw her. You spoke with her.
I did. And as all meetings with the divine go, she simply gave me more questions than I would ever have the time to ask.
Of course. I'd not dreamed I'd ever bear witness to such a connection to the divine.
My connection is only powered by those around me, including yourself, Ariel. I am forever in your debt for the sacrifice you made for me.
Well, I did what I must.
As we all do.
Where will you go after Vermalcia?
To the lakes of glass and the beastlands. Though, your divine, to tell me there are secrets hidden away in the chromantic hinterlands. I am eager to learn them, but what we saw when Wiswick reached across that river, the toll it took on him and Jet, I feel we must gain a little more strength. Another shard of Iluvania should be required before a proper excursion is made there. And if you're willing and able, I would ask for your assistance. I feel you have not been put on our path for no reason. Your connection with Zendario is stronger than, well, it may be one of the strongest on our plane. To move the forces that you did in bringing me to her plane of existence and allowing me to come back. That is no small feat.
Simply great.
Well, she listened, and that means something.
All
She
my
said
life, I had one way of thinking of Sindariel and the other gods. I was raised to know her supremacy till I found my way to the Gwyn. And from there, I assumed no gods were with me. And I chose to venerate her grace in the eyes of the Empire in what they believed were truths. And I poured myself into the texts for a chance at forgiveness. I did not think God was with me, or any gods, and I did not believe they ever would be again.
Well, whatever it was that you sought to redeem yourself for, Zendariel sees you as a true believer of herself. And that has weight. I would not belittle that, were I you.
Perhaps you're right. And that charming smile returns. Well, we have a long road together ahead, I suppose.
Yes.
And I do not just mean to Vamelsia.
We are all in this together.
He sits up and looks down at you and nods as he'll move your pup closer to you and looks over and nods. Cal, you're both ready and well tomorrow. We can leave.
Yes. That should be good. If I may, Sean, do I have the ability to cast spells yet?
Yes, you do now.
I would request, if it's available, 100 gold pieces worth of diamond. I feel there is something I may be able to help Lieutenant Stormrain with.
I will see what I can muster.
Also, while you're at it, and Kieran gives him some money. I should have written this down. But he's going to ask him to get some spell components for him. That includes 500 gold worth of incense. And, right? Yes, 500 gold of incense. And there's something else we wanted. And we'll just leave it at that. 500 and the 100 gold diamond dust.
He takes the pouch of gold from you and steps out. And before he leaves, he'll turn back and look to you, Kieran and Cal, and he'll look and say to you, Kieran, despite what I've witnessed here, I still believe it is wise to take the gods' words with a dose of skepticism as well. They speak many truths. Sometimes their truths they don't translate well to our world.
No. The Everflame did say it was mortals that would save our plane, not the divine. My faith in them is for guidance, but in the end, Kieran looks over at Cal and then to the empty beds of his companions, back at Oriel. I will rely on those that I can truly see.
Now then, we've both gained some wisdom through this supper. Until
Kieran turns to Cal and goes, "Who would have thought I could gain more wisdom? Cal?"
Cal ruefully smiles and nods.
There's that smile I always liked.
meanwhile, our
Cal does give a confused face at this. I made it, but I realize the audience can't see because of my stupid laptop. Let me see if I can describe it. His lips thinned, and he looked to the right and cocked his head in a strange manner and raised an eyebrow.
Kieran
Classic.
continues to smush fruit into his mouth.
Meanwhile, outside, Scarlet and Timber, you are walking about town. It's still quite quiet, even though it is the middle of the day. There are workers you see moving about, but most of them are in the actual workyards to the north, or on the north side of the river. So the streets in the residential area are very quiet during the day, other than guards. There is snow on the ground. You hear a little bit of dripping because it is a bit warmer of a day, so there is some snow melt. For the most part, it is still quite cold, and you would need to be bundled up.
Scarlet, can you tell me exactly what happened? Refer to me as a demon or a imp, if you wish, for the sake of publicity.
Are you sure you want all the details?
I need to hear it.
But before I tell you, it was the demons.
Okay.
After you went down, demons got right back up. Immediately went for Kieran. Tried to devour him. Cal and I got him out, but we had to separate him from his arm to do that. I took Kieran into the building, the burning building, to get him out of the demon's way. Cal got Wiswick out of harm's way. And then once I was in the building, I didn't see what happened. I was protecting Kieran so that nothing else happened to his body. The sounds were terrifying. So I can only imagine what was happening out there, but it sounded like Cal was losing. And it sounded like the demons were coming towards the door where I was with Kieran. And then it changed, and I heard you fall outside. And that's when what you remember came back.
Timber said, like, just is quiet for a little bit. Okay. I need to make you something. Timber's gonna find, like, an alley or something to do some alchemy. And I'm gonna make a couple of potions. These are gonna be some high DCs.
Yeah, Timber's I love how Timber is specializes in back alley alchemy.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of like I'll stand guard, but like, so what are you doing? Do you really have to do this here? We could go back.
Yeah, maybe we could.
I mean, if this is your process, that's
I just
fine.
want to be outside right now. I need to get out of there.
All right.
Can I get us descending while this is happening?
I would say no. I'd say you were still at the this point you're not returning yet. Is happening somewhat consistently with that. I'll say after after their interaction you'll be able to send ascending.
Right.
Fair enough.
I'm going to try to make 2 invulnerability potions. DC 19. Actually, I'm going to use
are you gonna use any of your?
I'm going to use 2 lavender springs also to lower the DC to 17.
Great. I was just gonna ask if you were gonna use something to do that.
And okay, so that is. I'm just going to roll perception +1. Yep. Nope. First one is a complete failure. It's a 12.
Okay.
Next one. Oh, that one passes with a 23. And I'm going to make a third one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to make a longevity potion.
Okay. What's the DC on that one?
Sorry, let me pull that up. That would be +5. So that would be 20. And then I'm going to lower the DC on that one with another lavender spring. Because I have a lot of
Excellent.
those. So that's 18.
Go for it.
I will roll for it. Oh man. I was really hoping for it. I failed this one too. That one was for the governor.
Oh.
All right. Well, with the one that I did make, after, okay, Scarlet. Next time this happens, I want you to hold on to this and drink it. It will. I don't have enough ingredients for all of you, but this will protect you.
Thank you. Could I help you make more? Would that help? Or...
Maybe in the future, but it seems I've exploded one vial and there's just this brown goo in this other one. I don't know. Then Timber's like kicking up some dirt, like
while you were watching on the end of the street, Scarlet, you would at one point have heard Timber be like "shit" as you just hear a vial just shatter, like the sound of glass shattering and a small popping noise. And then Timber, the last one you tried to make, I wouldn't drink that.
I'm gonna keep it though.
Yeah, might as well. Who knows what it does? Yeah. It's literally a mystery potion.
Love it. Well, thank you, Timber. And you don't have to listen to Wiswick, right? You don't have to answer him. You don't have to engage with him.
He has a right to be frustrated.
He does, but
I don't know what he saw, though. I saw him take a hit from me before
I also told him what happened.
Okay.
But that doesn't excuse the way he's treating you.
It's
and it's not fine. Oh, okay.
It's understandable.
Yes.
I mean,
But don't give in to him. Don't tell him it's fine, because he's just going to keep doing it. Just okay.
okay. We'll take a walk back.
Okay. All right, easy enough to do. Is there anything anyone else would like to do on this day, or shall we move on to the next? Wiswick,
Hey, just gonna drop a quick sending.
go for it.
Dear Carla, the endurance,
Calra.
endurance, Carla, Calra. Oh yeah, my notes say Carla. Dear Calra, the endurance have resulted in using demons from a hell portal for war. This will only
Excellent.
spread. Thank you. This will only accelerate the spread of chaos. Be safe, Wiswick.
Okay. You would get a very brief response. Oh, Wiswick. I am happy to hear from you. I'm happy to hear that you are. Well, it sounds like you've been dealing with a lot, but I am happy to hear from you. I will keep that in mind, and I will do what I can on this side. I have resorted to spending less time in Verdolin, starting to feel a little less safe. But if you are to return one day, I do have something to show you. I've modified the research facility we found, and it may prove to be a safe haven in the north, if you need. But thank you for reaching out, and I look forward to seeing you again one day.
Wiswick uses a special feature because he didn't prepare the spell today. So he can't respond back, but that's fine. It sounds like she's doing okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
else?
not really. He
Okay.
heads back. Unless he runs into Scarlet and Timber, he's just gonna head back and do what he did yesterday, hang
Okay.
out with the injured people.
Great. A soldier would enter at one point, and look to you all. A young half-orc woman look to you all and say, Governor Clay asked me to come to ask if there is anything that you will need before the journey tomorrow, south to Vermelsia. It will still be a long journey, though it will be quicker than the road. We will have full rations already provided for the journey. And, but is there anything you request before we go?
The governor already knows my requests, but if any more incense could be brought along, it's going to a good cause.
I could use some components for Find Familiar, I guess. Do we have any plans on where we're going after Vermelsia? I know you mentioned some wood elves that might be able to help with our timber problem, but you also mentioned some other place you wanted to go, right, Kieran?
Yes, our next destination, once we've dropped off the governor, will be to head south past Stormrain into the Beastlands to the Lakes of Glass. From there, we'll see where we're at and rediscuss, but I think heading back north, there may be something awaiting us in the hinterlands. Remember where Jet last expired? Last expired? No. Once expired?
Yeah, I'm still pretty curious about that forest. There's gotta be
Yes.
some way around it.
Or straight into it, right? And Kieran gives him a look that's like, that's what you like, don't you? Going into dangerous places, you sly little deep gnome you.
I mean,
Uh,
we
uh,
already tried over. We might be able to go under.
taking a a little step out of the game for a second, Stefan, are you okay? Is there something you want to tell us, buddy? 'Cause you've been very
Saucy.
what am I trying to lustful today.
How dare you? Kieran is just, he's changed.
Happy to be alive.
Yeah,
I thought he was just hopped up on painkillers.
yeah,
Kieran,
right.
Kieran comes back from the dead, super horny.
I don't know if he has that in him.
Any other things you want to talk about tonight?
Hey, I see you got healed. Good job, Cal.
Did he?
I don't know. Did he?
Cal looks
No.
confusedly and finishes his cigarette.
He's just able to to move now.
Hey, I see you can smoke a cigarette now, Cal. Pretty
Alright.
cool.
We'll be leaving tomorrow, gang. A group, team, squad. Everyone get your-
Wayward Five.
make sure you
Right.
get your gear and anything you need left. I'm sure the quartermaster's team will get you whatever you need, or the governor. The governor said he's commissioned a boat, so we'll be able to take the river down.
Fantastic.
Any word of Robert's coming with us?
None.
No one has seen Robert since the. Battle.
Somebody should check on Robert.
I cast sending because Wiswick might not be able to.
I have message. He's probably not farther
Oh.
away than that range, and it's a cantrip.
Would you like to message him?
I would like to try.
All right, go ahead and try to message him.
120 feet. I message in the direction of where I think he might be.
I imagine it's just like a radius, and as long as he's within that, it's like a walkie-talkie, you know.
Yeah.
You point your finger, and it's like it's like the satellites on the top of the old TV, where you gotta be like, Robert, where are you, Robert?
But you are not able to connect with Robert.
Yeah, didn't work.
Kieran cast sending to Robert. Dearest Robert, I hope all is well. We are hoping to see you in the infirmary if you're available. As always, love, Kieran XOXO. In the light of the Crescent Heart. By the 9 conservators, the Everflame.
You are
And a
already
stray-
over the 25 limit after
He
the
has
X and the
sending
O.
plus. He has sending plus.
I know. I just needed to mention it.
You killed him. You fucking killed him. You
You
sack
don't
of shit.
hear anything back.
You fucking monster. Kieran looks directly at Cal and the rest of the group. He goes, I think something has happened to young Robert.
What do you mean?
My magics aren't reaching him.
What about scrying? Should I give that a try?
Cal gets out of bed and grabs his coat and
Cal-
puts it on. And
Cal,
walk
I can
out the
go
door.
look.
Hobbles at. Well, my legs work. I walk out the door.
I go after him so he's not by himself.
You wander out of this wing of the barracks into the courtyard. It is sunset at this point. You could see the stars in one portion of the sky, but then the thick band of red light at the sunset. It is gotten colder and it is gently snowing again. Where do you head?
Cal, wait, let me go with you. Hold on. Slow down. I catch up to him and take his arm.
Wiswick hangs back because he's waiting for Timber to be alone with Timber, essentially.
Timber's not moving. Timber's gonna stay there. It's gonna keep asking Kieran some questions. What do you mean is he not answering your head communication?
My magics are not reaching him. which either means he's no longer on this plane of existence, or, well, that's actually it. He's not on this plane of existence. Whether that means that he's magically teleported, or whether his soul has left his vessel and moved on to the next realm.
Could he be sleeping?
No.
Did you take my arm to stop me as if to say something, or did you? Oh,
No. I took it to support you.
got it. That makes more sense. I was like waiting for you to say something.
No. Just to support you as you
Okay.
walk.
Cal is going to that. Well, I guess back up to the just kind of outside and back upstairs or whatever to the that lieutenant whose name escapes me again.
Bailey.
Yeah, Lieutenant Bailey, the aide de camp or whatever,
Mhm.
the staff lieutenant.
Yes, exactly. You head inside, and you would see in that same kind of administrative area, you would see that Arcos Arencia is there with Staff Lieutenant Bailey. They are reviewing paperwork, and they are just there. And you see Arencia looks up and says, "Lieutenant Cal, you are up and walking. It's good." She responds, and Bailey looks up and says, "Remarkable recovery."
Thank you both. Credit to your medical team. I hope. What was the butcher's bill from the other evening?
Well, we suffered quite a loss. There were more fiends than even we expected. It was less. It was more the numbers than anything else. They were just swarming. Easy to put down, but there were so many of them. We never knew where they were going to hit, so we spread ourselves too thin. We lost a lot.
Civilian casualties?
Thankfully, with your word given to us early, we were able to get most of the civilians to a safe place before the attack. We did lose some, but many more would have died if we did not plan ahead. You had not given us word. But
Have the burial crews finished their work?
for those who passed that day, yes. For those who have passed over the last week, they're in the process of.
I was wondering if you had the full list, looking for one of my previous soldiers, private by the name of what the fuck's Robert's last name? Sean? Tuckborough. We never use it. Sorry, team. Private Tuckborough. He was with the 15th Infantry. He was a runner. They were rotating him back.
And you see Rencia kind of taps Bailey to look for the lists. And you see he kind of shuffles through. There's a lot of papers on the table. You can see there's a fresh stack of papers that you would have seen the day before that he was signing her name to.
Mm-hmm.
Letters to next of kin, most likely. And he scrambles and pulls up his chart. What was the name again?
Tuckborough, Robert, 15th.
He didn't make it.
Understood. Is he Is he buried already, or are they still holding that?
He passed a few days ago. From his injuries. He should be with the others now. To be buried tomorrow. In the old church.
Understood, Lieutenant. Thank you. Akos, I say, and I salute appropriately. And I walk out.
Lieutenant.
This time, as we're walking back, I will stop you. Do you want to go see him?
Yes. No, I'll go and make sure he's prepared correctly. I don't know if he had a letter on him, but if he did, I'll send it back to his folks. I might write them something as well. But that is also the Arcos' job at the moment, unfortunately. But we'll see.
Cal.
Hmm.
It's okay to be sad.
I'm sure. I say, and then I walk forward and I go, "Oh, feel free to tell the others. I'll be down there."
Do you want me to go with you?
No, it's fine. Thank you. Unless you, don't let me stop you, I suppose.
I'll go with him. So he's not alone.
So the two of you walk through the streets. It's not too far from the barracks where the churchyard is. You go back there and you can see that they have expanded the grounds a bit. Some of the hedgerow that was there before has been cut back to make way for more sites. You see several new, fresh graves, and you would see someone there digging. This older woman is digging these graves, and you would see a cart that has a few bodies on it, blankets over it.
Nodding at the woman to make sure she knows that I'm there, and I'm not just a random dude sneaking up on her. I would just kind of, without much ceremony, just pull the blankets back from faces to just see if I can find Robert in that cart.
I'll give him space as he's doing that. I'll be nearby, but I won't be right up next to him.
As you're looking through the multiple bodies, the woman looks up at you as she stops digging. She looks like she must be in her early 80s, but she's tough. Garb of grace of the Everflame.
Is she wearing a face that she keeps in a jar by the door?
No. She looks at you and just... We've all been prepared for their journeys next. Do you know one of them?
I was told one of mine died of his injuries a few days ago, so he was supposed to be either down here or perhaps already buried. Just looking for him.
All right. Well, if you need anything, I'm here. Cup
Thank
of
you.
tea. And you continue looking, and it's frustrating for a moment as you can't find him. And after struggling due to your injuries to move some of the bodies to get to some that are underneath those bodies, and you're feeling your wounds splitting open as you're moving through, you would find Robert. He seems to have suffered a wound to his abdomen and his gut. Looked like he was in the midst of the fighting. And you can see the long sword at his waist.
I know we don't have dog tags yet. We're not quite so advanced, but honestly, I like look through his pockets in a nice way, not like a, ooh, what do you got on you, but like in a, just to see if there's any personal effects that I would send back to his folks, or that he wouldn't want just buried in the ground, or that he would, special things that I would. Whatever. I'm looking through his pockets, making sure he doesn't have anything on him that shouldn't just vanish.
Yes. You would find a letter, an enclosed letter. In the pocket underneath his armor. You would find also a little surprisingly unbroken vial on a chain that has like a little bit of water in it. Unsure where it's from. It seems to glitter a little bit. Potentially from the pools beneath the home for the Wayward Five. And you would find most of the coin that you had last given him is still kind of there. Like he wasn't spending that. I mean, it's uncertain if it is the coin you gave him, but he doesn't have any other money on him, and it's roughly the wages you would have given him. But for the most part, you look and you see kind of the peach fuzz of his face and the curly hair that had grown out, as opposed to the shorter hair you'd met him with, and he's just a strange thing to see. He didn't have much to him as far as effects go. He owned very little.
Okay. So I take the letter, and it's addressed to his parents, right? You said?
Yeah.
Yeah. I put it in my upper left coat, like breast pocket, right next to another letter that would be Cal's own letter to his folks. And then I'll take the vial and I'll put it in his hands, and like kind of clasp him over his chest. And I'll take the gold, keeping it in its own little pouch, and I'll put that somewhere in a pocket. And then I think I'll just, Cal stands there for like 4 or 5 minutes straight, and he's not moving at all. He's just looking at Robert's body, except for you can see his sword hand, his right hand, is like tapping on either. I probably wouldn't have a canteen. I might just get out of the hospital. I guess it's my leg then. Like just like my one finger is just rapidly like just tapping on my leg. And I'm just staring there at his body for 5 minutes or so straight.
I'd go over after noticing he's just standing there and approaching, would I see his finger moving like that? Yeah. So then I would take his hand and say, "You did right by him. You did so much good for him. You taught him well."
Cal gives a frankly non-committal grunt, and then you, Scarlet, can feel his hand, even though it's in your hand, is still kind of like it's shaking a little.
Mhm.
But then he kind of like pulls it free, kind of abruptly, like kind of like, okay, time to move on. And he puts the blanket back over Robert's head, and without saying anything, just turns around and walks away, and lights up a cigarette, probably.
I'll give him his space, but I'll follow him back.
Scarlet, you would see, kind of looking back at the cart, taking your own moment, seeing Robert there, just kind of seeing his hand from underneath the blanket.
I'll reach out and take his hand, and remembering what he said to me right after I found out about Reese. It's gonna be okay, Robert. And then I'll turn around and go.
For those of you in the medical wing, you would see Cal come in, followed shortly by Scarlet. Cal, evidently, both of them evidently set in their own way.
Wizard kind of just puts the pieces together and just like begins to like sniffle a little bit, like he's trying to hold back some crying, but he doesn't say anything.
After a moment, Cal would realize that he just walked in silently to a room that was like expecting an answer. And he would be like, "Oh, Robert, he didn't make it. It looks like he caught a wound to either the gut or the lungs, and died of his injuries a few days ago."
He was.
Cal would not invite. Very clearly, is not inviting more conversation, at least to him.
Yeah,
He just
there's
kind of sits down and moves on with, kind of like just does other work, busy work, like he's getting
Yeah.
gear ready for tomorrow or whatever.
There's an uncomfortable silence after Cal kind of delivers this matter-of-factly, and then you see him immediately rush over and just start to pack up his goods at the table and getting ready to leave. As Scarlet was there already, but kind of is entered a little bit after him.
I'm just like shaking my head to anybody that looks at me for an answer.
Timber just
Yeah, like, go ahead.
oh, no, Timber just has his hands on his face and just looking down. Well, like, kind of back against the bed, knees up, elbows on the knees.
I think Wiswick tries to comfort Scarlet, but like seeing that she's distraught, like decides to give her space, and he's visibly upset, but I don't think he's taking it as hard. So he goes back to, he kind of just does what Cal's doing and like goes back to start packing his stuff, but he's just keeping to himself.
To no one in particular, Kieran just goes, "He was a good lad."
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
He's better off now. In the fields of Elysium. Maybe he can learn a thing or two. From Hadric.
You hear a laugh scoff from Cal at that. Like, kind of like...
Something to say?
I suppose our definitions of better off are a bit different, my friend.
Yes. This is not our only life. As we live here in this realm, we will move on to another, though it's always hard to say where we will end up.
Cal?
Robert.
Sorry, go ahead.
Robert wasn't the most practicing sort, but even the faithless have a place on another plane.
Cal looks like he's about to engage with this, and then just closes his mouth, kind of like, not even shakes his head, but like just like a quick like just clearing his own like mind palette, and looks back to his gear.
And Curon will say a little prayer. He will first beseech Hadric, asking for him to take Robert, or help guide Robert through the fields of the dead. Then he'll beseech Zendariel, asking that should she find Robert to be one of her faithful, to allow him peace within her realm. And then he'll reach out to Ilyuvania. Crescent Heart, I know your powers now are weak, but should you see it within your strength to help this one poor soul, he deserves it, if only because he was one of the few good. And that's that.
In your own way, each of you grieve. But you'd only just reunited with young Robert. And he was so happy to see you. Thinking back to what a strange twist of fate it was to have met this half-halfling, half-human. After a bout with syndicate snatchers, bringing him further from his home than he'd ever been, to see both beautiful and tragic things. Great city of Caerdolan, the Ulstermere Lake, and Durst. And Robert Tuckborough will stay with you the rest of this journey. And that's where we'll take a break. And come back the next day.
God damn it, Sean. I hate you.
The fields.
All right, folks, we'll be back in 5 minutes or a couple minutes, and we will finish out the night with the next day, the journey south to Veramosia. Take us out, Alex. Hello, everybody.
F's in the
One.
chat.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Advantage in Paradise. We just took a short break. We're going to jump back into the last half of the adventure tonight. After receiving some unsettling news about their old ward, Robert, who has passed away in the fight to protect Atranari from the demon attack, the Wayward Five find themselves in the solemnity of grief in the medical wing of the barracks. After some time, you would all drift or attempt to drift to sleep. Cal, give me a Constitution saving throw on this night. And then I'll get to you, Kieran.
17.
17. Okay. You have a hard night, but you shake off the pain. Some of you, particularly Kieran, since you've never experienced this, might awake or come out of your trance. Or Kieran, most likely, if you're going to do something in the night, after your trance, you would probably witness Cal's groans and, at certain points, near screams in the night at the agony of his wounds. But, Kieran, what would you like to do?
Once everyone is well and good asleep, Kieran gets out and starts to creep. That's not true. He can do this all from his bed. I just have a rhyming issue. Kieran's going to sending plus to a man that he is well acquainted with. Some of you might know him as one General Kinsley.
Ooh.
Boo.
To which Kieran says, "I love you. Come back." Nope.
We were wrong.
We found a
We're coming
replacement
back.
for you.
We're bringing Cal. We've got him.
We got him. I was this double agent the whole time. No. What he says is what follows. Kinsley, I know we haven't seen eye to eye, but regardless, I find it paramount to tell you. Once more, my soul has left this realm and I met your one true god, Zendariel. And what I have learned from her, well, I fear the Pallid King poses as your Everflame, just as he convinced the Archdruid of Maginset he was the Ashkeeper. If there is any shred of humanity left within you, please, I beseech you, simply investigate this occurrence and proceed with caution. We exist on this plane together, and together we must protect it. Twilight guide you. Kiran Islastana.
Euron Isilisnama. I figured that night would not be the last time we spoke. I find it hard to trust you or your Wayward Five. I have done my own research into this pallid mask. Do not mistake me or the courts of Oxlin or the king for fools like the yokels in Maginset. We are not so easily deceived. You want me to trust you, or you want me to aid you or help in whatever efforts. Bring me Caliph Stormrain.
Okay. Sorry.
You got it. Do you want to respond, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm afraid I still have need of Caliph. You can have him next. And I would not ask you to trust me. I'm not asking for your aid. Simply proceed with caution. Until then, remember the humility that we learned in the Morsir conflict. I hope the Didact watches over you then. May her flame burn eternally. And then Curon's going to sever any connection.
Love it. Okay, so you have sent your message to Kinsley and then severed the connection at the end, so he couldn't give any quips back, but he wasn't going to.
I get the last word, bitch.
Well, your mom goes to.
Yeah, I love it. Sending plus allows you to hang up on people. Okay. So Curon, you would be able to begin resting at whatever point you want, though you would,
Yeah.
I would say at some point you would witness Cal's difficulties.
Right.
But you would all wake up the next morning. Most of you are pretty close to fully healed, or fully healed. I believe, Timber, I believe you're done with your exhaustion at this point.
Yes, I should be. Yes.
Curon, you would still have some.
I think I'm at one. If you would
yeah.
allow me to have gotten two that last night.
I'll allow it. You'll just have to leave a little later in the day. All right. Is there any last minute things anyone would like to do in town before going to the docks?
You've got Rocco, right? He asked to whoever. A guard.
I'll say there's a guard bringing you guys down to where the docks are, and of course your horses have been. We've made room for your horses on the ship.
Thank you.
Just enough space.
Mm.
We would ask that you keep the golem.
I wouldn't have summoned it that morning.
Okay.
But speaking of which, Sean, I've been teaching him a lot of stuff for a long time now, especially with all this like recovering that we've been doing.
Mhm.
Any chance when I could move to a different subject?
Besides language,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say you are at a place where I can semi-competently speak in the other languages. It's not, by no means is it fluent, but it could communicate. It's at the stage where it can communicate basic thoughts, and it probably shouldn't tell jokes in other languages. But not.
That's
quite,
a nice place to stop, I'd say.
Yeah. Because then you'd have to teach him about jokes. But anyway.
Well, I can always teach him that stuff on the road, you know? Like,
True.
teach something else, and when a joke comes along, you just
Yeah.
explain it. Sarcasm comes naturally.
Exactly. You're all led down to the docks, which are at the southern tip of the town, past the bridges, where you would see there is dockyards on either side of the river. Fairly large. dockyards because there's a lot of shipping that comes in and out of this town. But you're led to a small pier where you would see a sturdy looking vessel, but nothing to write home about. It's
What
certainly
about
large
send?
enough.
Sorry.
Maybe sending home. Maybe you would send home about this ship. But it is a small sailing ship. Somewhere between a longboat and a sailing ship, so that it can make its way up and down the river, but it has a bit more capacity for cargo. It does have a small
Like a catamaran.
sure. It does have a small scorpion at the front. And you can see there is a pretty small crew moving about. And you can see Clay is already at the docks talking with a pretty scrappy looking sailor. They're a tiefling. You can see they have for a second you almost think they're a satyr because of the shape of their horns is similar to a satyr's, and then it goes back and then curls out front like a ram's horns. They have this very, very pale blue skin. Their eyes are completely red, no sclera, and no pupils. They are covered in tattoos all over, pretty much entirely up their arms and up to their neck. You can presume they have tattoos across their chest and back. Several of them nautical themed, but then several that just are random. Like he just has a rooster tattooed on his neck.
Where you said they were nautical themed, I thought you were just describing Darth Maul. I got worried.
Yes, he has instead of 2 ram horns, he has a crown of horns, and he has red and black skin instead of light blue skin.
I thought you did say red skin. I may have just been.
It's all good. It's all good. But you would see he has like very simple sailor's clothes on, but they're very clean and well maintained. You can see he has an overcoat over those simple clothes that's a little bit nicer than them. It has this gold embroidery on the collars. And you can see on the horns there are several decorative jewels, and you can see like even at one part of his left horn there's kind of an bored through, and there's kind of essentially the equivalent of an earring hanging off of it. But as you approach, Oriel will look back and say, "Aye, lovely, you've arrived, and you're all set to leave now. We best make good time and leave as soon as possible. How are you feeling, Kieran and Lieutenant?"
I'm feeling all left.
Clay gives a begrudged grin at that uncertain little. Yes, very good.
Cal, turning away from Kieran with a look of confusion and skepticism on his face, says, "Ready to fight, sir. Hopefully, it won't come to that."
I hope so as well. The road south is typically rather safe, although it is still the long dark and there are threats out there, but we should not see any more threats from the north, hopefully. Hopefully the lines will hold and they will sneak past, though they'll have trouble finding us, I think. And now that the battle mage has been taken care of, thanks to you all. It's not the most lovely of accommodations, but it will do, and it is a bit more comfortable than the side of the road, though I do appreciate the warmth of your dome.
How fast does it go? Are there any rapids?
There are some dangerous points in the river that may require us to do some maneuvering or other means, but Captain Albaric here is a gifted sailor, and his comes at a strong recommendation from Arcos Orencia. You see this tiefling pushes past Oriel very unceremoniously, rolling up his sleeves, and goes to reach a hand out to shake whoever's up in the front hand. Maybe goes for Curon and realizes that he's got to go with the other hand.
No, Kieran would grab his right hand before, and he goes, "No, it's okay. It'll take some getting used to."
All right then. Well, I've sailed with plenty of men with missing bandages, so it's no problem. Hello, everybody. I'm Captain Alberic. I'm gonna be your captain for these journeys south. Make sure you're listen to everything I say. Yeah, this journey is typically folks will look at it and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna take the ferry down south," and they think it's gonna be an easy trip, but you never know what's gonna happen. You got the wilds to our left, and we've got on our right, and the Chromatis hinterlands. Something could always come out of that. So keep your eyes open and don't do anything stupid while you're on my ship, or I will throw you overboard. At least just for a few hours. Now, welcome all to the Storm Witch. Go ahead and claim your bunk.
Kieran heads off to claim a bunk. Nah, he's gonna bubble. He's gonna tiny hut. He appreciates the accommodations, but
Is there a crow's nest?
There is.
Second question: is there a large enough free open space the crew doesn't need for a tiny hut?
Actually, you'd have to kind of weirdly bubble it around the mast, because the crew's all going to be below deck. So you could get it. It would be a little tighter than usual though.
The boat might get stuck.
But what if they have to climb up the mast?
If they have to climb up the mast, then they can't.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Can't they climb?
No, you can give everyone access to the hut. So they can
Oh, okay.
And go up.
yeah.
It's
So
not
I'm just
you.
trancing, and
Poor
people are just like,
sailors just walk into a hut randomly. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're just knocking on they're banging on the hut. Excuse me.
We're about to get blown into some rapids. We really need to get the goddamn mast. Man, I've read too many nautical books, and they all love their minutia, and so now I'm constantly worried about how we need to trim these sails.
Wiswick, this is only his second time on a surface boat, so he runs up the mast and he's gonna hang out in the crow's nest and do some drawing.
Yeah, we can easily enough do that. There is, this boat in total is probably about 80 feet long. So it's pretty substantial boat, but it is kind of in that long boat, riverboat style. But it is pretty robust. All right, well then, you're all comfortable. I think it's time we ship off. And you would see the crew immediately gets into action. You see they push the boat off from the dock, and they begin to head down below deck, and they do start to row themselves out before a sail is dropped down, and you begin to head through the water. You would notice that the front of the boat is equipped with these what look like iron spikes sticking out, almost like a plow of sorts, likely for long, dark drift ice that can be found in the rivers frequently. But you are setting off on a boat. Most of you haven't been on a boat before, really. Oh, other than the boat that Cal summoned. That's right. This is, for some of you, the first non-magical boat you've ever been on.
Yeah, for sure.
For Wiswick and Stefan or Kieran, this is much nicer than the last real boat you were on, which was basically a raft.
Did Kieran and Timber take a boat into the Gosu?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, you two did. That boat
Boat
was.
City?
You guys have actually done a lot of sailing, or a lot of
Oh, yeah.
river boating. Yeah. This is essentially kind of like a bigger version of the riverboat that you all took into the Ruination.
Mm-hmm.
But you're heading south. For the most part, it's fairly safe at this point. So it is a bit gonna be kind of like downtime, because it is a longer journey. They are gonna be keeping an eye out though, because like I said, as you're even in this first day, in this afternoon, particularly for you, Kieran, you would be like scanning the shores, I imagine, of the Chromatis hinterlands, because the Chromatis hinterlands spread all the way pretty deep south. They're the entire kind of portion of land stuck between the two rivers. So you would see, yes, Kieran.
So 2 things.
Mhm.
One, he would be asking every crew member on the ship what they know about the hinterlands, while also perceiving what he can. And then 2, did Oriole ever get me those the 100 gold? of
Yes.
dust?
Yes. Oriole
about
was
The other
able
stuff.
to get you.
And my 500 of
Unfortunately, Wiswick,
incense.
Kieran asked for a lot of incense and kind of cleaned the town out of incense. I'll say you have some of the other ingredients for Find Familiar, but you'd have to borrow some incense from Kieran to finish the ritual out.
Okay. I message Kieran. Yo, swing me some of that good smelling shit you got there. That good?
Yeah, mate, how much you need?
Oh, just about, let's say, 1 gold piece worth. I don't know. I just need to
Oh.
cast this thing once. Just one time. I promise. It's just a one-time thing.
Yeah, you got it, mate. He sprinkles some
Bay.
incense.
Because that's
Wiswick's
how
way.
it works.
Yeah, I'll allow you to use some of Kieran's incense to do one summoning of Jet.
Woohoo!
Firstly, Kieran would like to take his diamonds, go up to Caliph, and go, "May I see your wound?"
Yeah, sorry. Yes, Cal nods and takes off his armor, which is like a not uncomplicated process, and then unbuttons his jacket and kind of. I just fucking just takes his shirt off. Yeah. I was gonna
Yeah.
like do a whole thing, but no, he would just fucking there you go. All right.
Can I make so looking at the wound?
Yes.
What do I make of it?
So
Get over how fucking sexy Cal is.
I was gonna say something, but you made the comment about Kieran being lustful. He was gonna say something like, "Wow, you've really worked that
Yeah,
out, haven't you?"
He's I'm no longer just lithe and like muscly. I'm
Oh,
straight
yeah,
up.
no, you got a six-pack.
Yeah, but mostly because I'm malnourished. Not
yeah, it's really the dehydration that's
Yeah,
showing
Yeah,
the
you got a
six-pack.
six-pack and then a 12 rack of ribs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thick and full.
Kieran, go ahead and give me a medicine check, or an Arcana check, or a just a plain investigation check.
We're gonna go medicine. Ooh, daddy, that's 28 for mate.
Okay. It is extraordinarily unusual that the wound is not healing itself. Obviously, but it is. I mean, you would get the sense that this is
Curse.
It's uncertain if cursed is the right term. It's you're not sure if this is a magical effect or if this is literally a toxic effect, like a poison, a disease. there are aspects of it that feel like it must be magical because of the way the wound opens itself back up. It's not just that it's not healing properly, it's like literally resisting stitching and suturing. But at the same time, it doesn't reek that much of magic, although it does have a certain it falls somewhere on the spectrum between a curse and a disease.
Would my knowledge of the Greater Restoration spell lead me to believe that is a proper cure for this ailment?
You are unsure. You know, you have a feeling it might help it, but you're due to the disease nature aspect of it.
Mhm.
You're not sure if this will fully be resolved by a Greater Restoration.
All right. So he takes, I imagine it came with a sack, the
Mhm.
sack of 100 gold pieces worth of diamond dust.
Yeah.
He opens it up. Yeah, that's the only spell component. Looks at it and he goes, I need you to trust me. This is going to be a little weird. And he just takes it and he just imagine you rub it on the wound. And while he's rubbing, he's casting Greater Restoration.
Cal grits his teeth against the pain of having minerals rubbed into his
It's
wounds.
extraordinarily painful.
Oh,
An
yeah.
already extraordinarily painful wound.
And now you're
As-
sparkly.
As-
Hey, I like to imagine he just like fits the diamonds into each like hole,
Yeah.
and then just like twists it a little bit.
It's
This one
just sort of
fits
like
well here.
sprinkling it in,
Master
and then
Pain.
like rubbing it and pushing it into the wounds.
Yeah, like he's marinating diamond dust into
Yeah.
Gross.
You cast the spell, and you can see the diamonds light up with some twilight magic, and they do seem to be doing something. And for now, as far as you can tell, the wounds close. It still burns, Cal, and it feels like there's sand in your wound underneath your skin. But the wounds close. And the fatigue you normally feel is relieved.
Well, it's not perfect, but they say an open wound is death waiting to happen, so at least it's closed for now. Not sure if it's fully healed. Whatever caused this, it's clearly some power higher than I'm able to deal with at the moment. But hopefully it gives you some respite. Because I'll be honest, the screaming at night is good for no one.
Cal looks resentful at that last comment and then nods his thanks and begins putting his clothes back on.
Okay. So, over the next few days, you sail south. Each day you wake up and it's just a lot of monotony. Snow-covered fields on the left side, and then ruins, scintillating mountains, and glittering forests to your right. It is a strange dichotomy here. Is anyone kind of keeping general eyes out, or are you all kind of resting? Kira.
Yeah, so I don't want to monopolize on time, but I would like to keep an eye out in the hinterlands and observe it. Maybe cast a legend lore on the hinterlands, specifically concerning that aspect of the tear in reality that Zendariel had told me about.
Absolutely, you can expend your legend lore components for that.
And now I'm gonna have to go get, bless you, Ilyuania, bless you, Clayton. And I wanted to get 1 gold piece of incense to do a second one.
Thanks.
Someone just needs their Familiar. Just kidding. Happy to help.
Thanks.
You would. This is a fairly taxing spell, as you remember from the last time you cast it. But you arrange the ritual, and you begin to focus, and your eyes go twilight, and then you feel yourself, your consciousness dislodged from your own body and sent into a vision. And you see the glittering dale before you. But it looks different. These ruins you've been passing are whole. You can see a sprawling city. Tall spires, adorned with ruby flags, with the old banners of the original Gwyn Empire. And you can see, leading up into the sky from the center of the mountains, is a pillar of light that is bright and green.
Those bastards.
And you would see a familiar sight like what you saw in Taramran with Timber's wife. A burst of light and the plumes of smoke rising into the sky as a shockwave scatters through for miles and miles and miles, much bigger than Taramran's explosion. You see the aftermath, as you can see dirt and ash kicked up, and that same black rain comes, and you can see the scorched mountains of the pass. And your vision would change again, and you would see what at first you think is a fortress, but you see no entrance. You see no arrow slits. You see no towers. You see spikes, almost like a porcupine sticking off of every aspect of this. They look like caltrips that are just sticking off of this structure. As you can see, more brutal architecture like this in this valley, dimmed by the scorched mountains all around it. As you can see, some what appear to be Gwyn elves, although they are somewhat taller, their ears longer, closer in relation to Elysian. They look like if you took a Gwyn elf and made them look a bit more Elysian in their height and stature and features. And you see, there's several of them here. They are wearing these masks over their faces that look to be magically created. As you see them kind of moving their hands magically to move and carve large spikes out of stone and placing them in different places and melding them into this space. As you can see, a large sigil on the center where there are no spikes. And it just has a skull. It just appears to be a skull. And it has these large... The skull itself has caltrips coming off of it, spikes off of it.
Do I recognize the skull in any way?
No, actually.
Doesn't look anything like Zenny's.
Not necessarily. You know,
Okay.
it could be, because it is a skull and that is a sigil of hers, but it doesn't share the flame or the
Right.
The star itself. It does have the spikes on it, though. But this looks more like a warning.
Oh, like a skull and crossbones. This is poisonous warning.
Exactly. And you start to understand why there's no doors to this fortress or windows, as it seems the ancient Gwyn, attempted to seal away their accident to try to protect the surrounding environment, but also to give a symbol to future generations, if this knowledge is forgotten, that this is dangerous.
Cool.
And you would then it would shift. You would almost be. It almost feels like you're sitting there for the entirety of time, as you're just sort of sitting there and watching suns set, suns rise over and over and over again until it looks like it's today, or at least modern times. As you can see, some of the spikes have collapsed off of the structure. You can see it is covered in lichen and other life that has taken over this space. So you can see the eroded skull sigil on the front. And surrounding you is the scintillating mountains, no longer scorched, but glittering. And the trees that have overgrown this area are all completely blue or crystal bright white and glowing. As you can see, crawling across the surface are a few large spiders with blue carapace. You've seen a spider like this once before underneath the crypts. It is a phase spider, and there are a lot of them in this area, feeding off of the nascent magic here. Nascent magic. Seemingly their structure could not hold in the effects of the tear, which has created the Chromatis interlens.
Is that the end of this spell?
Yep.
So once it ends, wherever Kieran has set up this ritual, imagine it's like, he's almost a little rude in that he just doesn't care anymore, and he's just set it up in the middle of the ship on the deck for whomever to walk around. And popping out of this vision, he just goes, "Of course, a lay sanctum. We'll never learn, will we?"
Yeah, you see the sailors are like stepping in between the little like incense lines you're burning as you awaken. But yes, it does, as far as a general summary, a ancient lay sanctum of the Gwyn Empire erupted in this area, creating a massive rift, and they attempted to seal it off with a magically constructed tomb, essentially.
Right.
And then they tried to create anything they could to represent "don't come here, don't go here," very much based on that type of architecture in the real world around nuclear fallout sites.
Right.
And it seems like it's not the architecture that kept people out of there, but the actual effects of the magic.
The magic that's slowly leeching and killing people.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And over time, the Gwyn Empire faltered in this valley and retreated. And then the Endurance took over. No knowledge of this other than folk tales of the Chromatis hinterlands being dangerous and filled with monsters.
Getting to his feet and looking for, I guess anyone really, just to share this information. But he would want to speak with Oriel to let him know that it's a lay sanctum that is the root of all the issues there. And I don't know if we want to roleplay this, but it's basically Kieran's enlisting the aid of someone else to help him on his quest.
Okay. I would say, looking out as you come back from this, and you're kind of talking about all of this. For the rest of you, Kieran has been in this trance for like 2 hours.
Oh.
The rest of you, though, are kind of going about your day on the ship, which I imagine is fairly boring for a lot of you. Although some of you might be helping here and there. You would also notice, kind of looking around, you would see kind of the sloped hills that lead to the shore of the Chromatis hinterlands, and maybe you'd look and see the glittering trees in the mountains. If anyone would like to kind of just be keeping a general eye out, not necessarily looking for danger, but just looking around, go for it.
Maybe.
I'm up in the crow's nest, so
I'll give you advantage on a perception check.
Cool.
22.
Timber, what are you doing?
Timber is gonna do something else. He's gonna be distracted.
Cool. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Cal, what did you get? Okay.
An 88, as if to say I got 2 8s.
Oh, 2 8s. What is the total for that?
8.
Okay. Wizik, I imagine you're a bit distracted, up in the crow's nest, or maybe you just can see too much and you can't focus in on anything.
I'm drawing something. I'm distracted.
Exactly. Scarlet, with a 22, you would see, much of what I've described before. You'd see these strange ruins of what was probably a civilization here. You would also see ruined boats on the side of the shore, either abandoned long ago. You can see some of them look very old, and some of them have been rocked by have been kind of like jutted up and stuck in the riverside, while others, one looks fresh, and a little larger than the others. It looks as though it must have crashed or beached itself in the last week. Looking out at the hinterlands themselves, it's still, it's not super bright out, of course, because it is the long dark, but the kind of twilight, dusky light is still here. The black sun is still in the sky. So you can see, you see a figure in the distance. At first, you think it's just like maybe an old statue that's part of one of these ruins. And then you see, why are there gulls?
I like the gulls.
I do too, but there's no gulls here. You would
It's
see,
your world, Sean. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, winter
all right.
gulls.
We got winter gulls. I'm bringing them back.
Winter river gulls of the.
I'm bringing winter gulls into this because I like the gulls too.
It's a saltwater river.
You're actually not terribly far from the ocean, but you see this figure, and maybe you step up and get closer to the side of the boat if you'd like. If you'd like, you could.
Do I hear anything?
You could do another perception check, and if you'd like, you can ask someone to help you, or ask someone also to listen and look who's on the deck.
Are you done with your spell?
No,
I
he's
don't know.
still
He's still doing it?
Yeah.
All right. Who else is up? Who's on here? Tip, are you
Wiswick and
here?
Cal are still here.
And Cal? Well, Cal doesn't want to do anything. Okay, fine. Cal, do you see that? Do you hear anything?
You would be able to once she points it, you would be able to see kind of a humanoid-like shape that's not moving right now.
Oh yeah. What is that? Who is that?
I don't know.
And it's in the Chromatis Hinterlands. It's where you're like, people die.
So what's
Is
the
it
roll
to
you need?
scale? Is it a roughly humanoid size?
It's roughly humanoid size, and I guess, and if you want, you can both make another perception check, or one of you can with advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give probably her advantage.
I have a
think
plus
she'll better.
6.
Yep, go ahead.
Very nice. Ah, rolled 2 24s.
Well,
2 natural 18s.
you're muted, Sean.
Thank you. With the both of you kind of looking together and watching, you wouldn't hear anything other than the kind of like the flow of the river, like kind of pushing these ruined boats into the side, where you would see as you're kind of getting closer to it the ruined smaller longboat that looks like it was recently beached and broken up. You would see there are, once you've gotten close, you can see there are bodies in the water that are stuck in the brush of the side of the river.
Do you recognize any of the bodies?
You would be able to recognize that they do have. Some of them look like they're just rivermen. Others, you can very clearly notice the armor or uniforms of endurance soldiers, likely being ferried south. There are, now that I've put them into the audio track, I'm going to make them cool. There are these. There are these winter gulls.
Yeah.
that are more, once you get close to them, they look a lot more like vultures. They have thick plumes of white feathers that look almost like fur, as their wings are more like pterodactyl wings and much bigger than their bodies. And they've got these claws at the tips of them that you can see them like tearing, kind of dragging bodies up to the shore. And you can see they got these very long, serrated beaks that they're eating the dead with. They are carrion birds. They are not. They're definitely something that you don't want to fight, but they are not. They don't attack. They don't hunt. They scavenge.
But they do have a plus 15 to sleight of hand to stealing your pizza.
They are very good at stealing pizza. It's the only thing they like more than rotting flesh.
And goldfish or Cheez-Its or any kind
Yeah,
of
I was gonna
crap.
say, don't put
Yeah.
Cheez-Its on a kite and fly it.
But they do. Once you get closer to them, the sound that sounded like gulls before comes out in a much shriller tone once you're close up with them, and sounds a lot more guttural. And it seems like some distance makes them sound a little friendlier than they actually are.
So there's
And
sirens.
they've
There's sirens.
That's what I said.
But this is not the primary thing you were looking at. You were looking at the humanoid figure out there.
Right.
And I'd say you kind of are looking, you look down and you see these carrion gulls, I'll call them.
It's bad luck to kill a seabird.
And then you look up and you see the figure is gone.
Did you see where they went?
No. Whoever they are, I'm sure they won't live long over there.
That's strange. I look around and see if they like got closer or if they're on the boat or
Do we see
Yeah.
a black smoke monster?
yeah. It's suddenly, this is now a lost campaign. I mean, if you want to give me one more investigate or one more, I'll say, yeah, perception. It's still perception. You're not getting off the boat and looking for him.
natural 20 for a 26.
Nice.
Means my rolls next week are gonna be crap.
I say at this point you climb up and kind of squeeze into the crow's nest with Wiswick to get a better look.
Yeah, sorry. Excuse me. Sorry. 1 second.
Or if you'd like, at this point, yeah, no, I'll say you get up in the crow's nest. You look down river. You can see past the kind of icy fog. You see structures. You can see what look like old ruined towers on either side of the river. Probably a defensive position at some point that has been ruined by the decrepit nature of the hinterlands. In one of the towers, for a brief moment, you see some flash of green light. Dim, but present.
On the right or the left?
On the right. The right tower looks a lot larger, and the left tower looks more like a little old dock. Kieran, I'd say you awake at this point.
So he awakens in the middle of the ship and goes, "Of course, a lay sanctum. We never learn, do we?"
Huron,
Yes, what, who, where, why? Oh,
Ahoy down there!
Do you
ahoy.
do you see those towers up there?
One moment, and he struggles to get to his feet with one good arm.
How
Actually,
many
he probably
times do I
props
have to say
himself
I'm
up
sorry?
on his staff. He still does not know how or why he lost his arm. He has not asked. He does not care. It's behind him. Doesn't know that you ran away as a demon wolf tried to consume him. Doesn't know that Cal ripped him away, thus resulting in the lost arm. He knows none of it. I know it all though.
Oh.
Peppertron knows. Yeah, so he gets himself up to his feet. And then using, just for shits and giggles, if you're going to make me roll perception, we're going to staff it with advantage.
Go for it.
And there was a light coming from the one on the right, a green light.
Ooh, good thing I had that advantage. There's always a light. So that's going to be a 32.
Woof.
You can see you almost like Ilyuvanya's magic eyes
X-ray
part
vision.
the fog.
If you want, just clairvoyance to get even better look.
You would see the two towers. You would.
Lord of the Rings reference to the
Unintentional. You would see this one tower looks like it's probably about like 3 stories tall, with the top layer ruined. Much of the what would have been kind of probably the rooftop collapsed down. You would see that brief flash of green light that Scarlet was talking about. And then on the left-hand side, you would see it is a kind of 2-story, smaller dock house that's slightly ruined as well. You would see hanging between them, though, is what looks like loose chains blocking the path of the river.
So sorry, that's down the river. The chains are across it.
Yeah, like from the tower draped to the dock house are some hanging chains that look like they are at least somewhat in the way. They don't look like they've been like pulled across, like there are people trying to block or sink this.
So immediately, Kieran does 2 things. First, he calls out, Captain Alberic. Captain Alberic. It appears there are chains down the river by those towers. I don't know if they'll quite impede us, but there could be something there.
You see, he comes down from the back of the ship. He's got this loaf of bread that he's tearing pieces off and eating, and he kind of just looks out and kind of like he kind of just like slaps the bread into Scarlet's hands, just as he's passing.
Crow's nest.
Oh, Scarlet's in the crow's nest. Sorry. Then he won't do that because Huron doesn't have a free hand.
No, he doesn't. He only.
Sean,
Yeah.
what are these towers made out of?
Stone.
And how far away are they?
At this point, they're about maybe 250 feet away.
And do I see what everybody else sees with the chains?
I'd say you're having a hard time seeing it, but you know it's there. They said it. Only Curon's really the one who can see the chains right now through the mist.
Are we in trouble? Should I preemptive strike?
Curon turns to the captain and goes, Captain? 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 Captain.
Aye. Nonsense. No. It's probably just some debris that's fallen. I've passed through these waters several times. Those are the those are the two towers over there. You got to be careful because they could collapse on you. So you got to make sure you got the right preparation for them. But no, there's never anyone around these parts.
Curon's going to cast Clairvoyance, putting the sensor on the top of the tower or at a window that he can see clearly.
Okay.
Where I guess where he saw the green light emanate from is where he's gonna.
Yeah, you see the captain shouts back to one of his crew members. Britta, I can get the chain cutters. And he kind of walks away, seemingly undisturbed by what you've told him. But with clairvoyance, you're doing eyes or ears.
We're gonna start with eyes.
And you're gonna try to do it at the highest point where you saw the light.
Yep.
Try to get in through the window, essentially.
Yep.
Because it's open, like it's ruined at the top floor, so there's like walls. You
Yeah.
could definitely plant a clairvoyance so you could see there. What you see is at first you look and you think like, is that a person? Like, is there freaking bandits here? But you look closer with the eye, where it kind of like clears up a little bit, the fog, and it's a strange looking body. It looks displaced from space itself, as you can see like an arm that's just like floating, and part of the body is just like missing in certain places, but like everything is in its right position on a humanoid body. As you can see, it looks like black stone has grown over bones and rotting flesh. Or like black bark even in some places. And there's like sort of like green lights that kind of just sort of sometimes it like lights up across it. You can see once the figure kind of like, you can see the face is just sort of the top part of the skull floating on the a half rotted rib cage with some loose armor on it, but more of that black stone and bark growing over it.
Upon seeing this, Curon shouts out while maintaining within the spell, if it's possible. Wiswick, preemptive strike. Captain, I think we have some trouble on our hands.
I'm gonna use an extended range cast of Transmute Rock.
Oh, yes.
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 The whole fucking thing.
Yes. And Kieran's gonna watch the whole thing through clairvoyance to see what this figure does.
Oh my god.
So, just
what are you transmuting the rock to?
mud.
Nice.
Ooh.
And how much can you transmute?
I got a 40-foot square. Actually, yeah, 40-foot area. The
Yes,
range is 150 feet with the added distance. And yeah, it just turns all the stone in that area into mud. So I'm aiming low.
Within
on
a
the tower.
40-foot cube?
40-foot cube. Yep.
Okay.
And I'm kind of doing it like a lumberjack would, where like you aim towards like the ground, so it's gonna like fall over on the ground and not in the water.
Oh, I see. So you're like angling the cube so that it creates the yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I get out of his way.
Yeah.
Let's go back down.
That's amazing.
Wiswick, what does this look like when you collapse this tower? Because so you're gonna angle it so that it cuts it so that the tower's weight will collapse onto the land, right?
Right.
Okay. So you all would see hear Curon shout out preemptive strike as Wiswick would step forward preparing this spell. You can see the arcane core glows with energy as you can kind of see him. Wiswick almost is just sort of like, it looks like he's molding in his hands, and you can see the stone tower as you're getting closer to it, because the boat is just moving towards it. They've slowed it down a little bit. You can see it looks like where Wiswick moves his hands, the stone is smoothed in real life, in real time, until it all starts to slowly turn. And there's this instant where it almost, you hear a cracking noise, and then Wiswick finishes the spell, and where the stone had all been smoothed over, instantaneously turns to wet mud, and you could just see like the tower, it's just this, for a moment, it just sort of like shifts, but then it just sort of collapses. It does collapse back towards the land, but it doesn't fall as far as it would have if it would just like lost all that stone. It kind of like slops in the mud down as the stones start to break apart themselves, because they're not that strong in and of themselves. And you can see a majority of it does fall into the land, but there is a portion that falls and splashes into the water, into what is already ruined there. And you can hear you can feel like the waves coming from the stone hitting the water as the ship starts to rock back and get a little turbulence, if you will. Huron,
The magic word is Jenga.
Huron, you would see the figure falls with the tower and is completely like smashed by the rocks. And you can see as soon as it's like pretty much it's immediately cast to the ground and scatters. The parts just fall on their own, no longer held together, as the rock kind of breaks off of it and the bark breaks off of it. And you can see the skull, which had some green energy in the eyes, it just fades away entirely.
Did any of the pieces fall close to the water, or to the riverbank?
Ooh, look at this.
Ooh.
Ooh. Excuse me. Ooh.
Ooh.
Alex, you can toss the battle cam
Yep.
on.
For a tower that's no longer
Yeah,
standing.
can you just knock that over for me real quick?
Can you just remove that?
Yeah.
Would you real quick?
Yeah!
Wait,
You
there's
worked
another.
so hard
There's more
on it.
figures on the cliffs. I mean,
As the tower collapses down, and you
Mhm.
hear a tree start to fall. It gotten hit by it, and there's already kind of a felled tree that was already by the water. It kind of gets dislodged a little bit as the other rocks hit it. Huron, you would look around, I imagine, immediately at this. Do you want to stay in the clairvoyance, looking around?
For a quick second, give the place a scan, see if anything else is moving in that area.
All right, give me a perception check.
30.
Oh my god.
Because
Yeah.
so-
So you would see immediately across the way that kind of, they were almost like, almost blending in with the wood and stone. They were kind of melded into it. You see another figure breaks off from that and is kind of like just like standing there in front of kind of some of these ice chunks in the water. You would look to the left from the perspective of the eye, and you would see stepping out of the trees and rock up on the cliffside to the right of the ship is two other figures that look like they're of this similar broken form.
Kieran calls out, there's one in the boathouse on the opposite shore and two on the cliffs. And Sean,
Yes.
wait. Oh. Can I, Kieran, cast Control Water and just zoom down the river?
Push the boat.
Yes.
Hmm.
As we're passing, can I, for the one on the, how many times can I use Earth Tremor? It's only once per long rest, right?
Yes.
All right.
You can gotta get tidal wave cure on.
Yeah.
It's a druid
So
spell.
under the boathouse. Actually, no. There's more on the other side. I want to like cast Earth Tremor along the bottom of the mountain there.
cliffs?
Yeah, and then just like essentially trying to do what Kieran did, or not Kieran, Wiswick did, and just topple it. Maybe not topple it, but throw them
yeah,
off
I don't-
balance.
Earth Tremor is not going to work that way because it's not. It's a much lower powered spell. If you do that, it's just going to affect that area. It's not going to collapse anything. It's not strong enough to collapse cliffside. It's more localized than that. You would have to do it underneath one of the monsters themselves, and it only has a 10-foot range.
Never mind then.
That's why Shannon doesn't play casters.
You gotta read the fine print. Which is what I just done with control.
You could use it on the guy to the left. When
No,
the
it's
ship,
fine.
When the ship gets just where it needs to be, and then just but we're just gonna enter a very brief initiative order for this because it's not gonna be a very long encounter, especially if you're gonna be zooming through with control water. So just give me quick initiative rolls.
Okay.
Oh, this is okay.
Fitting.
20 to 25.
Wiswick has a 23.
No, it's a 19 because my
Oh.
initiatives are messed up on my character sheet.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, 15 to 20.
19.
19. 10 to 14.
11.
13.
10.
Oh, Kaze, what's wrong? Don't you go fast? Don't werewolf go zoom?
Scarlet or Kaze, what'd you get?
7.
Oh,
Okay.
wolf.
It's alright.
Okay. All right, so the enemies do go first. So I'll say with this first round, the boat will move on its own, pushing through some of the ice.
That's some good ice you got there, Sean.
Yeah.
It's literally pieces of paper cut out.
Yeah.
Love it.
Effort
Why we like it.
there. And we appreciate.
Looks just like the real thing.
Yeah. Right.
Well, don't go too far. Shit. It looks like a very good representation of what ice on a river would look like.
The government
Like
just wants
the
to
real
think you to think that it's ice, but it's actually just paper.
All right, so I just want to clear up where everyone wants to be on deck. So I've got
Right where I am is fine.
Okay. Wiswick,
Wait.
you're up in the crow's nest.
Yeah.
Huron,
That's
I
my
imagine
plan.
you're right next to Scarlet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Timber.
Timber's at the bow.
Yeah.
Is that the?
Wait.
That's the bow's the front. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Stern.
Stern, yeah.
Aft?
Bow of a ship.
Starboard.
ready for
Prow.
maneuvers.
And then,
That's the only reason I know.
Cal, where do you want to be?
I would say just near the rail on that side.
Thank you.
I was literally just listening to that album.
Excellent.
Soundtrack?
Alright.
We're gonna have to Jamilton sometime together.
So, you would all be kind of looking up at these creatures coming out of the forest line, and one of them
Just one?
seeing you all kind of getting ready to cast spells and do whatnot, or at least just heard and saw the tower collapse and saw that there wasn't just because it was decrepit. This one here is going to kind of step back, and you see him just leap down. And
Ah!
I need Scarlet to give me a
Bless you. Elivania.
Yeah,
strength saving throw.
A strength.
Astrea,
You
excuse
sure
me,
it's not
Astrea.
Dex? You sure?
No, it's strength.
You sure?
It's a dragoon.
Oh.
Like
It
a-
also will a dirty 20 hit.
Yeah.
Okay, so he lands directly on top of you, and forces you to the ground. You're knocked prone,
Yep.
and immediately goes to stab this decrepit spear down
Uh-huh.
into you.
Uh-huh.
You're able to kind of maneuver so that it just kind of like it scratches your armor but cuts through, and you can feel it hit a little bit of flesh
Yep.
underneath your
Uh-huh.
arm. And then it's going to go for another attack on you with advantage because you're prone. When you can see them up close now, they look like these rotting corpses that are half there and half not there, held together almost by like small gravitational pulls. A gravitational center that holds all the pieces together, covered in this rock that looks like it has green veins across it. That is a 19.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even roll damage for the last attack.
I thought you were just gonna do it all at once.
I am going to do it all at once now.
Turning up that battle music.
32 points of piercing damage.
Can I uncannily dodge?
Yeah. And then you would look up, or Timber particularly, you would see this, and Wiswick. There's one that is up at the tallest point of the cliff that has this phased staff that is moving around that also has kind of like these broken crystals coming off of it that are green. And it points it down at, actually it's going to point them at Wiswick because he spots him in the crow's nest. And go for 3
Counter
attacks.
spell.
That'll work.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll work because it was an Eldritch Blast.
Sweet.
Cantrip.
Fuck. As you would see, hold the staff out, you see these 3 twisting shots fire out, and they're going directly for Wiswick, and he just nopes them as they get sucked into his palm, and he dismisses them. This last guy you can see is just sort of looking at the edge, and you can see him kind of like going like this, getting ready to leap onto the boat once it gets close enough to this space. But Wiswick, you are up.
So, Sean, you're thinking that hill that caster's up on. Would you say the length of that hill is about maybe like 10 feet, something like that?
The length of that hill?
Like where he's standing up at the top there.
Oh, the
Like-
length of it, like across.
Yes.
Yeah, it would be 5, 10. Yeah, this little crevice here would be 10 feet.
I don't know which crevice you're talking about, but I'm assuming that means the whole thing.
Like right here.
Where he's standing.
The precipice he's standing on.
Okay, yeah. I have options.
Option 2.
The precipice.
Well, option 2 is collapse the whole mountain.
Do it.
It's a pretty tall mountain. It's likely some of it would fall on your ship.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if I did like 40 feet from that like up higher area, it might trickle down. I think I'm gonna go with option 1, which was Wall of Force, and I'm going to cast it so it is right in front of him, so he literally has nowhere to shoot off of. Like, there's a wall blocking that 10-foot area in front of him.
Wait.
Well,
Can I even do that?
No, he'll just get pushed back. That mountaintop is flatter than it looks here because I'm at an upward angle. So he would have somewhere to be pushed behind the wall.
But I'm
for.
saying I want to cast it in front of him, like not on top of him, but in front of him. So if he tries
so it's
to
in
shoot
between
any
him.
projectiles
Okay,
at
I see.
us, he can't do it unless he gets to a lower elevation.
Okay, I see what you mean now. I see what you mean. Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea. You could just say he falls. That's great too.
No, he doesn't fall.
It's just a straight one. I'm not making a circle.
Well, I'm doing it for the sake of it standing.
All right, fair enough.
We'll just pretend like it's straight.
Denied.
All right, Wizwick, anything else? Huron, you're on deck.
No, I think that's pretty much it for me. Maybe I'll slide down the ladder like a cool boy.
Okay. Oh, I knocked the camera off.
Ooh, wait. Can I try to grab a rope and swing down?
Sure. Give me an
Hell
acrobatics check.
Hell yeah.
You fail, falling flat on your ass. You look a fool. The crew laughs. It's
Wait.
embarrassing.
I got a 9.
Did you really?
It's so fun. Yeah.
All right, give me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh
You
god,
fall
you're
off
gonna
the side.
put me in the water, aren't you? This is terrible.
The DC was only a 10 for you to not fall and not run this risk.
We'll come back for you, Wizard.
All right, you're fine. You almost fall into the water. I'll say you land prone though, looking over the edge of the boat down into the black.
Does
cold
the crew
water.
laugh at him?
You hear a chuckle from up on the stern. All right, Huron, you're up. Scarlet, you're on deck.
So some mechanics. Gonna cast Control Water.
I did a concentration saving throw just for you, Sean. It was fine.
Control Water gives me a range / area of 300 feet.
Okay.
I would use the flood, causing our ship to rise up on a wave 20 feet high,
Nice.
and then propel us down. And it doesn't say. So it says that any vehicle struck by the wave has a 25% chance of capsizing, but I'm not striking the vessel. I'm trying to use that lift to carry us down. And if possible, as we pass by the individual that's in the boathouse, just kind of like wash him away.
I see.
I'm trying to like think of like a good like reference in terms of it. But instead of just lifting
So
us,
you're using
any
the
avatar.
flood.
uh,
You're using the flood to lift the waters so that the
Right.
boat doesn't hit any of the debris.
right,
is
and
pushed
carries
forward.
us down.
Yes. I would say, I'm not gonna have, because I like this, I'm not gonna have it damage the boat. Or at least not capsize it. It might damage the boat a little. But not as much as running into the debris would.
Right.
And but I'm not going to let you propel the boat until your next turn because you can only do one thing with this. And the flooding, does the flooding have a propelling aspect, or that's the redirect flow? I thought.
Well, it's a
Well,
20-foot wave, and the wave has to
Yeah.
go somewhere.
but redirect flow is I assume the river.
Oh,
is
I
headed
see.
with us. So and then.
Oh, the wave aspect. Okay, I see
Yeah.
now. Sorry, took me a second.
No, it's all good. And you can choose that as up to 100 feet on a side.
Okay.
So basically the idea is to just kind of propel this boat down and pass by all this nonsense. I don't want any of it. Get out of my house.
Roll me a d20.
That's a 6.
My God.
Narrowly don't capsize the boat, but you can do this. So the wave lifts the boat up and propels you forward, and I'll say it absolutely knocks this guy off into the water. You can actually see as the boat is being pushed forward. Oh, God, too much debris. It doesn't hit the debris, but I'll say pushes forward, and as the creature falls off, the icebreaker spikes in the front of the boat just smash into the creature, and it breaks apart entirely.
Anyway, nah, it's fine. I was gonna be like, can I like catch like a thing and be like, what is you?
Well, there's one on the ship, so if you kill that one, you'll have.
Oh, right. I forgot about that bastard. Excuse me, bad man.
All right. So on the next next turn, the ship is going to be able to break away with Curon's help from this space, and pretty much you'll get away. But you do have one on board right now.
Sure.
And one that's at least somewhere else, and who knows if there's others out there. But you are very close to getting away entirely. Anything else, Curon?
I think I'll just end things there.
All right, Scarlet, you are up. You are prone. Not
Is the
prone.
one that's still on the boat is the one that jumped on top of me?
Yes.
All right, cool. I would like to rage for my bonus action. And just to double check with you, we said when I use my hammer, that's strength, right?
Yes.
Cool. All right.
You can use strength or dexterity for it. If you use strength, you get your rage bonus.
Yes. Okay. So I am going to use my hammer, and I'm going to make this reckless so I can give myself advantage. And I will be using strength so that I can add the rage damage.
All right, go ahead and go for an attack roll.
All right, that. Ooh, no, wait a minute. Why did it do plus 12? Oh, it added the 2 of them. That's right. Okay, 14.
14 does not hit. You bring the hammer across and you smack it into the creature, and you can feel it hit the stone carapace, and it just doesn't. It almost completely absorbs the impact as the creature just sort of shambles up. They're also about 7 feet tall up close, so
Cool.
Huron sized.
Cool. Well, that's all I can do. I'll die.
Oh, did you attack with 2 hands?
I already used my bonus action.
To rage. Right. Cool. All right, Cal, you're up, and then Timber, you're on deck.
I'm gonna sword this man.
Go for it. You are flanking with Curon.
Oh, excellent. I'm also gonna make a tripping attack.
Okay.
It's a natural 20 for a 29 to hit.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Go for it. And then what's the strength saving throw?
I think it's 17. So 8 plus 8 is max damage. 16. 23 damage total. No, sorry, 23 plus a d10. Let me roll that d10 for you. For you here.
What's
30
the total?
damage total.
30 damage. Okay.
And it's a DC.
17, you said?
Yeah, pretty sure. Yep, 17. Strength throw.
All right, they rolled a natural 18, so they are good there.
Okay, I'm gonna attack him again.
Go for it.
With a,
They do look rough. They are not super strong.
with a
Sean, I
tripping
forgot
attack.
to add my proficiency bonus, so would a 17 have hit?
17 would have hit.
It's a
It's up to
natural
you.
20 for a 29 to hit, Sean.
Jeez, nice.
And you complain about these
It's-
rollers,
it's-
you
it's
sack
why-
of wine.
The
I do
online
complain, I
roller.
still think they're broken.
The online roller picks who it wants to support.
Uh,
Anyway,
Ian plus 7 is 20
how do you want to kill
three.
this thing?
plus the d10.
Nice.
What?
How do you want to kill this thing?
Oh, I cut both of his legs off at the knees and then rapidly pushed the rest of his torso off the boat, so it's just his legs standing there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So.
And then they'll
Um,
topple over. Cause
You did to him what I did to that tower.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. So you are able to kind of, with the tripping maneuver, able to knock the legs kind of in the back and then slash in a way that just severs them entirely. It feels strange when you attack because the blade hits nothing, but it's hitting the creature in the way that it's invisible parts, and you can see it just sort of, the top portion of it just sort of breaks apart and falls into the water. But you do maintain some of it still there. All right, you're not entirely out of the water yet, but you are close to it. but you have taken out 2 of the
We're
3 that you
probably
saw.
never gonna get out of the water. We're on a boat, Sean. That's where we need to be in the water.
Thanks. Timber, you can't see any of the enemies right now. Well, I guess you can see the other guy through Wiswick's force wall.
Timber is like seeing what's happening, and he's rushing, putting papers back in his pack. He's like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, so is Timber just kind of taking this round to be like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's exactly what's
Okay.
happening.
All right, great. You can see the crew are kind of like pulling out bows and spears and stuff and looking out and keeping an eye out. You see Alberic comes forward to where Huron is kind of directing these waves. And you see him stepping forward, and you see him hold his hands out. You can see they glitter amber and green. As you can see, he goes like this. Oh, God. He goes like, it's almost like he's parting something with his hands. You can see the rock and earth is pushed up on the sides to help clear the path for the boat. As you can see across his horns is kind of this green druidic magic glitters. As he's just like, oh, what did you bring to my ship? Oh. And the way is clear for the ship to move forward as long as Huron maintains the wave on his turn. You can see kind of shambling through the debris of the tower is not the same one you saw originally, but other ones that are kind of dragging themselves through it. As you can see, this guy jumps down. Give him a dex.
We're zoomed in. I can't see.
Oh, yeah, I forgot we zoomed in. So this guy leapt down to here. They seem to have pretty strong strength. They don't have high health, but they're pretty sturdy. As he looks down, and he is going to point. He can't really see a lot of you, so he's going to try the best he can and fire.
Hadar's grasp.
That would,
Hold us in place.
that would be pretty funny. No, he's not a straight warlock. He is going to. Okay, so what you would feel, so Cal, you would feel kind of this cold fall over you, as you can see kind of like green fling through your veins for a moment, as they have cast some enchantment on you, and then they're going to fire off some Eldritch Blasts. First
me?
one, at least the first 2 beams.
Counterspell.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You all are super fucking strong. That's right. All right, easy enough because it's a cantrip, so it's not even require any kind of roll. You could just do 1 charge, and you cut through the spell as all 3, or at least the 2 bolts they fired at you, are swirling at you, and you just cut through them, and they splash into the water. As you can see, a bunch of icy cold water shoots up into your faces. And the last one was going for Scarlet. All right, Scarlet, that's a 17 to hit.
Nope.
Okay, so it fires past your shoulder, Scarlet. As this creature is just sort of like crawling, shambling across this mountain, this cliffside, just kind of looking out and holding its staff out. No emotion, no beckoning out, and just holding that out. And you are, as far as you can see, safe at this point as you push through with Huron and Alberic breaking the path open for you all, allowing you to progress down the river.
Woo!
Unharmed. Okay. Okay.
Wow, my God! I just read Wall of Force. It's 10 10-foot by 10-foot panels. I could have done the whole river.
Yeah. All right, so you all begin to catch your breath as this strange, shambling creature, this strange, shambling corpse threat has ended, as you push your way through this kind of two-tower area. As you begin, the icebreakers continue to break the ice, and you begin to continue moving south. We're getting a little late, so is there anything y'all want to do in the aftermath of this fight?
Woohoo! Do you see that? That was so much fun.
Cal's wound is getting worse again, so he's gonna just go to be like, we did it. Sheathe his sword and just gonna go to his bunk.
Cal, real quick, give me a wisdom saving throw as you see Scarlet kind of opening up her armor, and the cut is pretty deep on her shoulder, and there's a lot of blood there.
It's a 6, Sean.
It's not immediate, but you feel yourself kind of entering into a fog as you start to hear things in the distance. It's a combination of unknown noises and things you're familiar with. You hear like what sounds like charging soldiers. You hear what sounds like firing magic across a field. Then you hear a deep growling in your mind that sounds a lot like when Timber attacked you. And you start to feel panic as you're looking around, and your friends are, some of them still have their weapons out. You look up and you see Timber at the stern looking down at you all, and you feel nothing but panic at all of these threatening figures all around you. And there's nowhere to go. You're trapped on this boat. What do you do? Their faces start to almost, like, you're starting to hallucinate a little bit too, where their faces are almost disappearing and they look muted, and your vision is blurring in and out as the wound is just burning. You can feel it ripping itself open again.
I think so. I don't sheath my sword. I'm gonna back up to the stern castle there, so I have my back against the wall,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna yell anything or like do like try and attack anyone, but I'm definitely like my sword's up, my hands out like to be ready, and I'm just back against that wall, like steeling myself for the oncoming attack.
Yeah, you see Cal has positioned himself so that he is somewhat not afraid, but like he's still in fighting mode, and he's holding his blade out at all of you.
Cal, what are you doing? We're done. It's finished.
Their voices sound muted and deep and threatening.
Cal, I kind of just like bare my teeth and point my sword at the direction of the voice. Still not attacking directly, but I'm warning them off. You know what I mean?
We're past where this area, right?
You're moving fast enough, even with the residual wave, that you are out of danger of these creatures.
Yeah, we're just gonna cast calm emotions on this guy. Like, fuck off. Come on, really? You get out of danger and you have the audacity to try to do this to me? Yeah, we're calming that ish. Make a char saving throw.
Yeah, charisma saving throw.
Char.
20.
We succeed.
So, let me give you a little bit of flavor to this, other than "fuck you" from Akiron. Cal, you're looking around, and people's bodies are like, your vision is warping and bending, and you're hallucinating. You can feel your blood feels like it's red hot, pumping through your veins. You're sweating. His eyes are bloodshot. And like you look around, and Cal, you would see their figures look like they're 10 feet tall now. The shadows are extended up. They look like they're growing spines and tendrils just like Lou looked. And then you can see, like, you look to the side and the river is blood now. And you can see bodies up against the banks. Soldiers of Honduras, dead all around you. The sky is turning to dark red as you hear that voice in your head that sounds like the bartering voice of Lou. They are coming for you. All of them. Kill them. And then you feel sudden, like, light shatters through this sky and across, and it sounds like far away thunder. As it all starts to calm down, your vision slowly waves back into place as you feel out of breath, exhausted from all the sweat. As you look up and you can just see your friends there. You can see Curon with his staff pointed towards you.
I look around for a second, and then kind of look down at myself, and then, like, sheath my sword and stand up, as if nothing happened. Just like, and I kind of, like, wipe my brow, and I look for the enemies that we all seem to be looking for.
Calith, are you okay?
Fine. I felt a bit strange there for a moment, but
Yes,
I seem fine now.
indeed. I don't think it was my magics that did that.
I think I'm going to hit the rack for a few.
That's a good idea.
I kind of quickly scamper away, as if embarrassed, almost.
Yeah.
And I take my sword belt off and.
Wiswick's just looking up at Kieran with a smirk on his face.
Cal, you would get to to the lower deck as you're kind of moving away to go rest, and as you're kind of taking off your armor to lay in the bed and trying to catch your breath, you wiping yourself down with a rag, you feel the ache in your arm, and you reach into your shirt and pull out, and there's just blood all down your hand from the wound that ripped itself open.
I bind that up quickly, and I take a second once my armor's off, and everything. I take a second looking at, like, my sword belt and my little sword gun belt, whatever it is, and I do take my firearm out of the holster, and I kind of, like, fall asleep with it on my, like I'm holding it.
Yeah. You find yourself, like, positioning yourself in the bunk with it just kind of in the perfect place to be ready. As this peculiar afternoon comes to a close, the
Real
ship's
quick,
sailing. Yeah, go ahead.
can I scavenge any remains of the enemies?
Yes.
I believe there's 2 legs that are just hanging out.
New shoes.
There are no shoes to it. There are bones, human bones, rock, root, and occasionally fragments of old armor and cloth. It's mostly bone, rock, and root.
Sure.
As you look at these remains, stare off towards the ruined towers and the battlements, you can see one of these figures just sort of, like, dragging itself out from the rubble. And, like, as you're sailing away, Curon, and looking back, you see out of, like, the mist, like, a lot of these creatures are standing there. Like, you look and the forest is littered with them. And they're all standing there, creepily, just in a formation, watching you. As you look down at this fragmented bone, maybe look down towards where Cal went. As you all begin to sail further south to Vermalcia, surviving this river attack and seeing more peculiar behavior from Cal. And that's where we'll pick up next week. Gasp. Thank you, everybody,
My
for sticking.
God.
Holy shit! 41 rate. Sorry, you caught us right at the end, but thank you so much for the raid. So come join us in our other shows in Paradise. But thank you. Thank you so much for coming by. We are Paradise RPG. We've got a lot of great programming out there. This is our show every Monday night, so come stop by next week to see us play some awesome D&D. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every week. This Thursday, we've got Relaxing in Paradise, which is where I play games and work on the campaign and do a lot of other cool stuff. Shannon joins me sometimes, and so do some other players. We have a one-shot coming up on April 17th. We're going to be featuring Disaster Hamsters. It's at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a new adventure from Plot Hooks. We've got Stefan DMing that. We've got some amazing casts. We've got Lily Sparks. We've got Josh Simons. We've got Star Shinobi, Jordan Cobb, and Shannon will be playing as well, where she'll be playing a hamster version of Scarlet. We have every Tuesday night, we host the Shadows in the Mist campaign from Jasper's Game Day. So come join us at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard to check that out. And Shannon and I are part of the Scales Above campaign every Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a homebrewed Rise of Tiamat game. So please join us there. If that last 5 seconds of D&D was interesting to you, come join us. come hang out with us next week, or check out our VODs on YouTube. Let's get rid of the scary music. But thank you so much for joining us in the raid. We're going to real quick, looking at what we've got at the end here, we're just going to send you all over to Critical Bard so that you can keep spreading the love. Have a lovely evening, everyone.
Love you.
Oops, I wrote /road instead of raid.
Oh, yes.
But everyone have a lovely evening, and we'll hopefully see you soon. Good night.
We did it.